Chapter 4304. The appearance of the mysterious enemy lured Jiyu Fei to the outside of the ancient heavenly court. The ruins of the ancient heavenly court was not an ordinary place. It was even more terrifying than those so-called danger zones in the heavenly realm. Back then, Jiyu Fei had the strength to flatten the danger zones, but he still had to be careful when entering the ancient heavenly court. Because if he was not careful, even Jiyu Fei himself might encounter danger inside the ancient heavenly court, or even die inside. Jiyu Fei was not an idiot. It was obvious that someone was plotting against him, trying to lure him into the ancient heavenly court. Those people must have dug a trap in the ancient heavenly court, waiting for him to jump in. Were they trying to trick him? Who did they think they were? Hei Tian, Fan Xiu? Jiyu Fei would not fall for it. The ancient heavenly court was extremely quiet. Black mist drifted in the air, and the entire place was shrouded in a murderous aura. No one knew how many peerless figures were buried here, or how many secrets were hidden. Who cares, let's go back and take a look. Jiyu Fei muttered, then turned around and took a step, instantly disappearing into the void. Just as Jiyu Fei left, a mysterious shadow appeared outside the southern heavenly gate. That guy is very careful. The mysterious shadow muttered to himself. He looked in the direction Jiyu Fei left with a cold and vicious gaze. At this time, the heavenly realm war had ended. The battlefield was covered in blood, broken artifacts and weapons were innumerable, and layers upon layers of corpses. No one knew how many demons from the immortal god realm had fallen. The immortal god blood and demon blood were mixed together, immortal chi and demonic chi intertwined, and remnant wills that had yet to completely dissipate wandered around the battlefield. If this battlefield was not dealt with, terrifying evil beings would be born after a long time. Only the Buddhists had the supreme secret technique to deliver all living beings from suffering. At this time, both the Buddhists from the heavenly realm and the human realm were on the move. Many eminent monks arrived at the battlefield, and every Buddhist saint was emitting a golden glow. Only a sacred-level Buddhist saint could deliver the souls of the dead and dispel the murderous aura here. Someone saw heavenly law roaming around the battlefield. On the battlefield where the evil chi soared to the sky, groups of incomparably bright Buddhist lights emerged on the battlefield, and there seemed to be Buddhist chants lingering in the void. Yang Guling, and the others had already returned to the ancestral court of the demon race. Jiyu Ling successfully passed her tribulation and finally became a quasi-supremacy. She was the second martial artist after Jiyu Fei to successfully pass the quasi-supremacy heavenly tribulation. Jiyu Ling went into seclusion to refine the 9 Phoenix Cauldron again. The 9 Phoenix Cauldron was nothing more than a Tao item refined by someone else. It was very inconvenient to use someone else's item. Jiyu Ling wanted to erase the brand inside the 9 Phoenix Cauldron and then replace it with his own brand. Only by branding his own mark on the 9 Phoenix Cauldron would the cauldron belong to him. Yang was a very casual person. She stood aloof from worldly affairs and was indifferent to fame and fortune. There were not many things in the world that could move her. She directly returned to the pavilion that Old Tortoise had arranged for her and shut herself inside. Old Tortoise and Xiaoqing were in the ancestral hall discussing the important matters of the demon race. Master, in this battle, our race has lost 3 half-ancestors, 130,000 soldiers, and countless injured. Xiaoqing said in a heavy tone. The demon race had suffered a great loss this time, but of course, it was not to the extent of hurting the demon race to the bone. What? So many people died? Bulon couldn't help but be astonished when he heard this. There were countless casualties in the armies of the heavenly realm and the human realm. Some forces were directly crippled, and even the sect masters had fallen. The demon race's losses were really nothing much. Got it. Old Tortoise nodded. Is there any news of your big brother? Old Tortoise asked. Jiyu Fei had left for some time, but he still hadn't returned. Could it be that he had encountered some danger? He knew very well that Jiyu Fei had many enemies in the heavenly realm, especially the mysterious and unfathomable Yuan Jiyu. That guy was absolutely despicable. He would jump out from time to time and then disappear for a period of time. This guy was also involved in assassinations. Many high-level members of the demon race had died in his hands, which made Old Tortoise want to tear him to pieces. However, this guy was very cunning and slipped away every time. Old Tortoise had the Tai Sovereign seal and was not afraid of Yuan Jiyu at all. He wasn't worried about Jiyu Fei because he knew that Yuan Jiyu couldn't do anything to Jiyu Fei. No, Big Brother has the world's fastest speed. Who in this world can catch up to him? Xiaoqing said. Even he couldn't catch up to Jiyu Fei, let alone others. He had no idea where Jiyu Fei had gone. However, at this moment, a figure appeared outside the hall without any warning. Brother, your cultivation is getting higher and higher, Old Tortoise shouted at the figure outside the hall. He actually didn't notice that someone was approaching. He only noticed it when the person arrived outside the hall. Same to you. The figure walked in from outside. This person was Jiyu Fei. The war in the heavenly realm shook all directions. The news spread to the 5 ancestral planets of the human realm, causing the entire human realm's cultivation world to boil. After the war, the major forces of the human realm needed to recuperate. Meanwhile, in Crepe Myrtle ancestral planet, the Ji clan and the Ground clan were fighting endlessly. At this time, Empress Ji was badly battered by the Ground clan and was in a very sorry state. Many important figures of the Ji clan were killed by the Ground clan's experts, causing the entire Ji clan to be furious. Most importantly, the Ji clan's elder council had doubts about Empress Ji's ability. The current Empress Ji seemed to be unable to handle the current situation. If this was the case, the position of clan lord would have to be vacated. The Ji clan's clan lord was not the sole ruler. The clan lord was chosen, but who was it? The elder council. The elder council was above the clan lord. The position of Ji clan's clan lord could only be held firmly by those with ability. At this time, Empress Ji felt danger. He urgently wanted to prove his ability, but Crepe Myrtle ancestral planet had entered a chaotic era. He couldn't even deal with the Ground clan. When Ji Mingyi fought against the Ground clan's clan lord, Yu Feng, both sides were extremely powerful. Their battle prowess was about the same, but in the end, both sides were heavily injured. The Ground clan had no choice but to retreat into the depths of the ancestral land, not coming out easily. The Ji clan's vitality was also injured. Moreover, the rise of other forces caused the Ji clan to lose sight of other forces. As for Ji Chongkong's bloodline, they became more and more powerful. Ever since they formed an alliance with the heavenly race, Ji Chongkong's bloodline showed signs of suppressing Empress Ji's bloodline. This was because many of Empress Ji's bloodline's experts had fallen during the war with the Ground clan. Even Emperor Ji's uncle, primal chaos ancestor Ji Mingyi, was injured. It seems that it would be difficult for him to recover in a short period of time. The Ji clan's ancestral land was extremely beautiful. It was the best divine land on the Myrtle ancestral star. All the energy of the world could be drawn here. Furthermore, the Ji clan's ancestral land was the densest in the entire Myrtle ancestral star. Cultivating here would yield twice the results with half the effort. The Ji clan's ancestral land was very large. Ji Chongkong's faction only controlled a small portion of it. In the courtyard where Ji Chongkong was, there were 2 people sitting at a stone table under a tree. They were chatting and drinking, looking very happy. I say, "Hey Tian, this time, you really tricked Empress Ji miserably, haha." As one of them spoke, he started laughing loudly. This person was Ji Chongkong. And the person sitting opposite Ji Chongkong was Hey Tian. "Hee, it's just child's play," Hey Tian said. "What should we do next?" Ji Chongkong asked. This Hey Tian was full of crafty ideas. If they wanted to deal with Empress Ji, it would be impossible for them to rely on themselves. However, with Hey Tian, the situation would be different. Requesting to fight and gain merit, Hey Tian did not waste any time and only said 4 words. Requesting to fight. Fight who? Ji Chongkong's eyes lit up when he heard this. He had already vaguely guessed Hey Tian's intention. "What do you think?" Hey Tian said unhappily. "The Tian clan and the Ground clan are sworn enemies. Yes, it is not impossible to destroy the Ground clan." Ji Chongkong's eyes became even brighter. The strength of the Tian clan and the Ground clan were about the same. These two clans had fought for countless years. In the current era, the battle was extremely bitter. If Ji Changkong wanted to attract the attention of the Elders' Assembly, he had to gain merit first. How? There was an opportunity in front of him. As long as he destroyed the Ground Clan, the Elders' Assembly would remember his merit. Someone. Ji Changkong could no longer sit still. In the next moment, a figure silently appeared behind Ji Changkong. Go and invite the Tian Clan's clan leader, Ji Changkong ordered. Yes, master. The figure then disappeared into the void, as if it had never appeared in the first place. Very quickly, a white-clothed figure descended from the sky and landed in the courtyard. The clan leader of the Tian clan had not arrived, but the heavenly daughter of the Tian clan had arrived. The heavenly daughter of the Tian clan was a peerless beauty. Although her face was covered, her extraordinary temperament was very moving. Greetings, heavenly daughter. Ji Changkong quickly stood up and said carefully. The heavenly daughter of the Tian clan had a higher status than the clan leader. Even if the clan leader saw the heavenly daughter, he would not dare to be impudent. He never expected that the heavenly daughter would come. He had invited the clan leader of the Tian clan and not the heavenly daughter. As for He Tian, that fellow was still sitting at the stone table, drinking his wine and eating his meat. It was like he did not see the heavenly daughter at all. Old Black, why are you not greeting the heavenly daughter? Ji Changkong said anxiously. TSK. He Tian did not care about Ji Changkong at all. You are He Tian. The heavenly daughter looked at Old Black and narrowed her eyes. That's right. Guaranteed to be the real deal. He Tian nodded his head and said. Come and die. The heavenly daughter's expression suddenly changed. She stretched out her right hand and grabbed at He Tian. A powerful devouring power immediately surged out from her hand. He Tian acted like he did not see the heavenly daughter's attack and continued to drink by himself. The powerful devouring power could not shake He Tian at all. Hey! When the heavenly daughter saw this, she could not help but be shocked. This He Tian's cultivation did not seem to be lower than hers. He Tian, if you have the guts, come with me to my clan's ancestral land. Chapter 4305. The holy daughter of the heavenly race was extremely powerful. However, it was clear that He Tian was not afraid of her. Could there be something going on between these two? At this moment, Ji Changkong muttered to himself. What did you say? Although Ji Changkong's voice was soft, the holy daughter heard him. She immediately frowned and stared at Ji Changkong with a ferocious gaze. This, Ji Changkong was shocked. The legendary holy daughter of the heavenly race was actually a tigress? Of course, he only dared to say this in his heart. One must know that the holy daughter's position in the heavenly race was even higher than the heavenly race's clan leader. Furthermore, the holy daughter's cultivation was slightly higher than Ji Changkong's. Ji Changkong and He Tian had been trapped in the land of flying immortals for so long and obtained great opportunities. However, they were only at the beginner stage of the quasi-supremacy realm. He Tian's cultivation was higher than Ji Changkong's. He had already broken through to the intermediate stage of the quasi-supremacy realm. The holy daughter of the heavenly race was also at the intermediate stage of the quasi-supremacy realm. Alright, I will not go to the holy land of the heavenly race. He Tian raised his head and looked at the holy daughter as he said indifferently. If you still have a little bit of conscience, you should have gone, the holy daughter said angrily. I'm not going. So what? He Tian said helplessly. You, the holy daughter was infuriated. She turned around and left. Aya, don't go. Is there a misunderstanding between the two of you? Sit down and talk. Ji Changkong stepped forward to smooth things over. However, the holy daughter of the heavenly race did not give Ji Changkong any face. There will be no me or him. It's up to you. After saying that, the holy daughter soared into the sky and flew away. This, Ji Changkong was dumbfounded. I say, Old Black, don't tell me you abandoned this girl. Ji Changkong mocked. Abandoned your head. He Tian almost wanted to punch Ji Changkong. Then tell me, what's going on? Ji Changkong looked seriously at He Tian. In Ji Changkong's opinion, there had to be a story between He Tian and the holy daughter. Sigh. He Tian let out a long sigh and didn't say anything. His heart was heavy. When Ji Changkong saw the situation, he tactfully stopped asking. He Tian is very mysterious. Although Ji Changkong experienced many things with He Tian, he still does not know He Tian's true origins. He Tian is very mysterious. In fact, sometimes He Tian didn't even know who he was. He Tian was walking on the great Tao of reincarnation. He was constantly reincarnated between heaven and earth, living and dying. He didn't know how many lifetimes he had experienced. As his cultivation continued to improve, he opened more and more soul imprints, and gradually, he was able to recover the memories of his previous life. In the end, the clan leader of the heavenly race did not appear. Because of this, Ji Changkong couldn't sit still. Without the heavenly race's participation, he didn't want to fight the ground race alone. One must know that even if he could defeat the ground race, he would have to pay a huge price. He didn't want to end up like Emperor Ji, fighting the ground race with both sides suffering. I say, you should make a trip to the heavenly race's holy land, Ji Changkong cautiously said to He Tian. Scram! He Tian directly kicked Ji Changkong away. Soon after, He Tian left the Ji clan's ancestral land and flew towards an ominous land of the Myrtle ancestral star. What is this fellow going to do? Ji Changkong limped over from afar. He naturally knew where He Tian was going. However, he didn't know where He Tian was going. Ji Changkong pondered for a moment, then he also soared into the sky and chased after the direction He Tian disappeared in. Heaven-devouring terminus, this was the name of this perilous land. This is a perilous land that can devour the heavens. Any living being that enters the perilous land will be devoured, no one can come out alive. He Tian rushed over from afar and landed on a mountain peak outside the heaven-devouring terminus. It's here again. As long as he gets close to this perilous land, he will feel something calling out to him. He is very sure that that thing is inside the heaven-devouring terminus. However, this is the heaven-devouring terminus. For countless years, it has devoured countless living beings. Even if it was a powerful expert, as long as they enter, there will only be one result: they will be devoured by this perilous land. He Tian doesn't want to be devoured by this place. Preposterous. In the end, He Tian couldn't bear it anymore. He directly jumped from the mountain peak and rushed towards the heaven-devouring terminus. Don't! Ji Changkong just arrived and just happened to see the scene of He Tian rushing into the heaven-devouring terminus. This. Ji Changkong shook his head and smiled bitterly. If He Tian dies in there, then I don't need to fight with Emperor Ji for the position of clan leader. Asterisk rumble. Asterisk just at this moment, a thunderous sound suddenly came from the heaven-devouring terminus. What's going on? Ji Changkong was shocked. At this moment, in the depths of the heaven-devouring terminus, a shrine is shaking. It is an ancient shrine. The shrine is covered with cracks, as though it will shatter with a light touch. And in front of the ancient shrine, there is a figure standing. This person is He Tian. At this moment, He Tian's divine power is vast and mighty. He is trying his best to resist the powerful force that burst out from the shrine. What's going on? He Tian is shocked and angry. There is actually something in this shrine that wants to devour my power. Is this the reason why countless living beings are devoured? The force that burst out from the ancient shrine is too powerful. Although He Tian is trying his best to resist the power of the ancient shrine, he is still moving towards the shrine. This made him extremely shocked. Asterisk roar. Asterisk He Tian let out an unwilling roar. Then, he left the ground and flew towards the entrance of the ancient shrine. He was directly swallowed by the shrine. Asterisk boom. Asterisk in the next moment, countless divine lights burst out from the ancient shrine. Every ray of divine light pierced through the void. The entire ancient shrine is shaking violently. An incomparably powerful force is condensing inside the ancient shrine. He Tian was swallowed by the ancient shrine. Ji Changkong, who is outside the heaven-devouring terminus, knows nothing about this. Ji Changkong is sitting cross-legged on the top of the mountain, waiting for He Tian to come out. At this moment, the Ji clan of the Ziwei galaxy is being attacked. A force that dares to attack the ancestral land of the G-clan is naturally not weak. Outside the ancestral land of the G-clan, banners are fluttering in the wind. Countless wild beasts are roaring. This scene is extremely shocking. A total of 18 armies, the allied forces of the 18 major forces, have surrounded the ancestral land of the G-clan. Emperor G, come out and die. The G-clan is finished. Emperor G, come out and let me kill you. Then, I will leave your corpse intact. Angry roars rang out from all over the allied army of the 18 roads, their voices spreading far and wide. Humph! Get out of my sight! An old voice rang out from the ominous ground. It wasn't loud, but it reached everyone's ears. The G-clan is in danger. At the same time, in the ancestral court of the demon clan in the Heaven Realm, Jiu Fei has returned. Jiu Fei and Old Tortoise are reunited. Of course, they need to catch up. However, Jiu Fei has only been back for half a day, and there is already news that something is happening in the depths of the alien battlefield. It seems that some important figures from the other realms are trying to cross over. However, it was definitely not an easy task to connect the two realms. Asterisk boom. Asterisk suddenly, an earth-shattering sound comes from the sky of the Heaven Realm. The entire starry sky seems like it is about to collapse. Then, a terrifying aura descends from the starry sky. Countless living beings in the 5 heavens of the Heaven Realm are terrified to the extreme. Jiu Fei is not happy. Is there no end to this? Chapter 4306. The experts from the otherworldly realm broke through the barrier between the heavens and the earth and entered the Heaven Realm. In the depths of the starry sky of the Heaven Realm, a huge shadow stood up. The shadow shook and countless bright fireworks appeared in the starry sky. Those were the fireworks formed by the explosion of countless stars. Those were the brightest lights released at the last moment of the star's existence. The illusory figure merely trembled, but the power it released directly caused countless stars in the starry sky within a radius of billions of kilometers to explode. The illusory figure opened his mouth and inhaled. The power of the countless stars that had exploded actually all gathered in his mouth and was directly swallowed by him. The spies of the major forces in the alien battlefield were all scared out of their wits when they saw this scene. Some of them turned around and fled. Some of them were so scared that they even forgot to flee. They were trembling and their minds were blank. Is that a supreme martial artist? A holy venerable expert said with a trembling voice. Among all the experts in the Heaven Realm in the starry sky, only those who were above the saint level could speak. The others were already suppressed and couldn't speak. However, even those who were above the saint level felt extreme fear. That fear came from the depths of their souls. At this time, a smaller figure appeared in the starry sky. Master is so powerful. Those guys dared to kill Master's beloved disciple. They deserve to die. The person said carefully. This person was not a shadow, but a person in a black robe. His whole body was enveloped in black chi and his figure was faintly discernible. My master is invincible. He doesn't need a slave like you to say anything. Another figure appeared next to the horrifying shadow. It was a purple-haired, purple-clothed woman with a veil over her face. She was shrouded in a purple aura, and her figure was graceful. Her eyes were like 2 purple stars, and when they opened and closed, they flashed like stars. Yes, yes, yes. Little Master is right. The shadow nodded and bowed. On the surface, he was respectful and even afraid of the purple-clothed woman. However, in his heart, he didn't think much of it. The black shadow thought that Zizun was just lucky. She was born with the purple sun-dao body. She had only been a disciple of Realm Lord Zhongxian for tens of years. Her cultivation might not even be comparable to his. However, given the other party's identity, even if the Black Shadow had countless dissatisfactions, he had to swallow them all and carefully serve this little ancestor. Realm Lord Zhongxian was the master of a realm. He was the second Realm Lord in the history of the Extreme Mysterious Domain. The Extreme Mysterious Realm's Lord was naturally the man who had created the Extreme Mysterious Realm. He was the Extreme Mysterious Realm's first Lord. The first Realm Lord of the Extreme Mysterious Realm had disappeared for eons. For many years, the extreme mysterious realm's countless life forms and tribes had wanted to dominate the entire extreme mysterious realm. Ever since the extreme mysterious realm lord had disappeared, the extreme mysterious realm had descended into chaos. The major forces fought against each other, and the people were plunged into misery and suffering. After the extreme mysterious realm lord, there were only area lords and no realm lords. An area lord ruled over a region. However, there were countless area lords in the extreme mysterious realm, but no one had the ability to defeat all the area lords and unify the extreme mysterious realm. Until recently, an incredible person had appeared in the extreme mysterious realm. This incredible person had single-handedly subdued all the area lords in the extreme mysterious realm and become the second realm lord of the extreme mysterious realm. However, many tribes in the extreme mysterious realm were unwilling to submit to Zhongxian. Zhongxian was definitely a character. He had used ruthless methods to eliminate all the opposing forces. Wherever he went, rivers of blood flowed and rivers of blood flowed. This fellow actually colluded with the demons to invade the heavenly realm. At that moment, a figure appeared in the starry sky and stared at the powerful figure with eyes that seemed to be burning with flames. A demonic star floated in the sky above the heavenly realm, releasing a terrifying demonic aura. Below the demonic star was the god and demon battlefield. Due to the influence of the demonic star, it was difficult for the experts of the Buddhist sects to purge the remnant souls and thoughts here. In a very short period of time, the corpses here had already turned into corpses. That day, when the 10 absolute demonic star had descended, the experts of the heavenly realm had joined forces to stop the descending demonic star. The power of this demonic star was so strong that even a quasi-supreme being would find it difficult to refine it. The major forces of the heavenly realm could only use their ultimate Tao weapons to stop the demonic star. Roar! A roar suddenly rang out. Then, a figure suddenly rushed out from a pile of corpses. This figure had a ferocious expression, and a sword was stabbed in between his eyebrows. Nearly half of the sword had pierced through the back of his head. The figure was surrounded by demonic aura as it pounced towards an old monk nearby. What? The old monk was shocked and hurriedly chanted the name of Buddha. Sanskrit sounds filled the air and the surrounding deathly aura was immediately dispersed. Bang! The old monk pressed his right hand forward, and a Buddhist seal immediately appeared in his palm. Bam! The corpse demon was sent flying by the old monk's palm strike. Black smoke rose from the spot where the corpse demon had been struck. After all, the corpse demon had just turned into a corpse. After being struck by the old monk's palm strike, it fell to the ground and lay motionless. At this moment, Ji Yufei's figure appeared near the 10 absolute demonic star. Come in. Ji Yufei circulated a trace of eternal energy in his body and tore the heavens and earth apart. He then kept the 10 absolute demonic star into his inner world. Everyone who saw this scene was indescribably shocked. All the experts of the heavenly realm did not know what to do with this demonic star. Yet, Ji Yufei had actually kept this demonic star in one go. If I refine this demonic star, I might be able to recover my extreme Tao cultivation. Ji Yufei muttered to himself. Hand over the demonic star. A figure appeared in front of Ji Yufei. This person was shrouded in black aura and a strong demonic aura emanated from his body. This black figure was the servant of the extreme mysterious realm's realm lord. Die. Ji Yufei extended his right hand and pointed at the black figure. Fart. There was a flash of blood and a ray of light shot out from the body of the black figure. The black shadow was shocked to the extreme. The wound on his body turned to ash and then spread to his entire body. With the wound as the starting point, the black shadow's body was turning to ash. Ji Yufei did not even look at this fellow. Instead, he raised his head and looked into the depths of the starry sky. My master will avenge me. After saying this, the black figure turned into ashes unwillingly. His body and soul were destroyed. TSK. Ji Yufei did not care at all. How dare you kill my servant? You deserve to die. Chapter 4307. The alien realm that had invaded the heavenly realm was the extreme mysterious realm. The extreme mysterious realm was a perfect world that was incomparably vast. In such a perfect world, an extreme supremacy could be born. Without a doubt, the extreme mysterious realm's realm lord, Zhongxian, was an extreme supremacy. However, the heavenly punishment of the human realm and the heavenly realm did not allow the existence of extreme supremacy. The extreme mysterious realm's realm lord, Zhongxian, was obviously aware of this. He had only sent a clone to the heavenly realm. His real body had not crossed over. But even so, this clone of his was exceptionally powerful and could easily kill a quasi-supreme being. This clone of his was invincible among quasi-supreme beings. It was precisely because of Zhongxian's strength that his subordinates were also extremely arrogant. The black figure had provoked Ji Yufei, but Ji Yufei had killed it effortlessly with a flick of his finger. However, Ji Yufei's killing of the black figure had provoked the terrifying clone of the extreme mysterious realm's realm lord. "How dare you kill my man? Die!" A loud voice boomed from the heavens. Then, a huge hand descended from the sky and slapped down on Ji Yufei. The huge hand enveloped the entire sky and sealed off all of Ji Yufei's escape routes. With a casual wave of his hand, Ji Yufei's huge hand dissipated in the void. A mere clone dares to behave atrociously in the heavenly realm? Ji Yufei looked up into the sky. His gaze pierced through the void and landed on the blurry figure in the depths of the starry sky. What? The clone of the extreme mysterious realm's realm lord was shocked and enraged when he saw Ji Yufei break his killer move with a casual wave of his hand. "Master, this fella," Zizana was also shocked when she saw Ji Yufei's attack. In her opinion, her master was the most powerful existence in the entire extreme mysterious realm. No one could withstand more than 3 moves from him. However, a little fella from this world had actually managed to stop Realm Lord Zhongxian. Although Zhongxian had only sent a clone, it was still an extreme-grade cultivation base. A full-powered attack was enough to destroy heaven and earth. However, this was the heavenly realm, not the extreme mysterious realm. Rumble. Suddenly, a series of thunderclaps rang out in the sky, and a terrifying destructive aura descended from the depths of the sky. The heavens paled, and billions of living beings trembled. "Damn it!" Zhongxian's clone suddenly raised his head, his eyes filled with unwillingness. An extreme aura quickly disappeared into his body. He had wanted to use the power of the extreme path to kill Ji Yufei with a single blow, but he had only released a trace of the extreme path aura when a terrifying energy fluctuation came from the sky. "Master, this." Beside Zhongxian's incarnation, Zizana raised her head and looked at the sky in shock. "It's Tianfei." Zhongxian's incarnation said coldly. "That's actually real?" Zizana said in shock. "What do you think? I wonder who did this. This power can envelop an entire world and suppress the extreme Tao," Zhongxian's clone said in shock. With Zhongxian's cultivation, he was naturally able to see through it. However, the power of the heavenly punishment was too powerful. Even Zhongxian did not know how powerful it was. He didn't dare to try. His intuition told him that the power just now was enough to threaten him. Before the extreme mysterious realm lord entered the heavenly realm with his incarnation, he had already found out everything about the heavenly realm, including the various forces in the heavenly realm and the human realm. There was also the heavenly punishment that could kill an extreme-grade supremacy. Therefore, the fact that there were no extreme-grade supremes in either the heavenly realm or the human realm was definitely good news for the extreme mysterious realm lord. Hence, the extreme mysterious realm lord decided to conquer the heavenly realm. After conquering the heavenly realm, he would then conquer the human realm. This way, he would no longer be the lord of one realm, but the lord of 3. However, the extreme mysterious realm lord had greatly underestimated the heaven realm and the human realm. The waters of the heavenly realm were bottomless. It was almost impossible for the extreme mysterious realm lord to conquer the heavenly realm. "Humph. You want to use the power of the extreme Tao in the heaven realm? You must be tired of living." At that moment, Old Tortoise and the others appeared in the distant sky. "I can kill you even without using my extreme-grade strength." The extreme mysterious realm lord sneered and took a step forward. In an instant, he arrived above Ji Yufei and stomped down on Ji Yufei. A violent force surged from his foot and blinding lightning appeared in the void. "Lightning path power?" The Heavenly Realm experts who were watching from afar were shocked. Let's see if this Jiyu Fei is really that powerful. From afar, the Tai Ching holy leader looked at the figure with a complicated expression. He, this Jiyu Fei isn't someone with an undeserved reputation. The mysterious heaven holy leader laughed. Back then, Jiyu Fei swept across the heaven realm. How awe-inspiring was that? Who didn't know of Jiyu Fei's name? Although the Tai Ching holy leader and the other old antiques were still in a deep slumber, ever since they had awakened, they kept hearing about how powerful Jiyu Fei was. However, which holy venerables weren't prideful? How could they say that their skills were inferior? However, the combat strength that Jiyu Fei had displayed had stunned everyone. Jiyu Fei did not dodge. Boom! The huge foot that descended from the sky landed on Jiyu Fei. In the next moment, the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone jumped up with a scream. There was a bloody hole on the sole of his right foot. You stepped on a nail, right? Ha ha. Jiyu Fei laughed heartily. The Heavenly Realm experts who were watching the battle were dumbfounded. As for Zizun, the disciple of the Realm Lord, her eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets. Her master was a Realm Lord, invincible in the extreme mysterious realm. Although it was only a clone, it should have been enough to sweep across the heavenly realm. However, reality was cruel. Her master's clone had suffered a huge loss. Before this, no one had ever made her master suffer a loss. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone was like a giant, just like the Heavenly Realm giant tribe. Boom! The extreme mysterious Family Lord's clone attacked again. A huge hand appeared in the void and slammed down on Jiyu Fei. The void that was enveloped by the huge hand immediately collapsed. Powerful lightning energy shot out from the huge hand and tore through the void. Again! The corners of Jiyu Fei's lips curled up into a cold smile. In the next moment, he turned into a beam of divine light that shot up into the sky. He tore through the void and pierced through the huge hand that was descending from the sky. The streak of divine light pierced through the palm of the large hand, leaving behind a cloud of blood mist. Roar! The extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone roared. Even though his palm was covered in Tao patterns and was as hard as a divine weapon, it was of no use. How is this possible? The extreme mysterious Realm Lord was in disbelief. This clone of his was even stronger than the average divine weapon. Otherwise, he would not have used this clone to kill his way into the heavenly realm. This was practically a divine weapon in human form. Even without using the power of the divine weapon, it could still sweep across the entire realm. Chapter 4308. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord had thought that he could dominate the heavenly realm with his extreme Tao battle physique clone. However, the reality was harsh. He had just arrived in the heavenly realm and was already being slapped in the face. How could this little guy's physical body be cultivated to such a level? Could this be the legendary existence that surpassed the extreme Tao battle physique? The extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone was a true extreme Tao battle physique. It was not just a phantom, but an existence with flesh and blood. The phantom with its head in the sky and its feet on the ground was merely his Dharma form. When one's cultivation reached the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's level, the Dharma form was as powerful as the real body. At this time, the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone was in a sorry state. There was a hole in his foot and a hole in his hand that was dripping with blood. Moreover, the bleeding did not stop. This was the extreme Tao battle physique, yet it was bleeding. How is this possible? The extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone was shocked. This little guy could actually hurt him. The extreme Tao battle physique clone was invincible. Even if it was injured, it would not stop bleeding. The blood essence of the extreme Tao battle physique was not something that could be easily lost. All of this was beyond the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's understanding. TSK, how dare you come to the heavenly realm with your mediocre skills? What a joke! Jiyu Fei said disdainfully. You, the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone, was furious. He was a supreme existence in the extreme mysterious realm. Everyone who saw him would tremble with fear and tread carefully, afraid that he would kill them if they offended him. The feeling of having the life and death palm in his hands was too wonderful. However, The Supreme Realm Lord who looked down on the world was now in such a sorry state by a little guy. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord was going crazy. You what? I'll give you a chance. Go back obediently, or you can forget about going back. Ji Fei said calmly with his hands behind his back. You're courting death. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone was going crazy. His eyes were bloodshot. Roar. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone roared into the sky. An endless amount of lightning energy erupted from his body. In the next moment, he seemed to have transformed into a lightning Dao paragon. Powerful energy waves erupted from the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's lightning combat physique. Bolts of lightning shot out from his body and tore through the void. Sigh. Come again. Ji Fei shook his head helplessly. The extremely violent power of the thunder path erupted. Each bolt of lightning that shot out from the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone was tens of thousands of miles long. It was like the heavenly path itself, tearing the heavens and the earth apart. Countless Heaven Realm rankers who were watching from afar felt threatened, and all of them turned pale with fright. Whoosh! With a flash of lightning, a saint-level expert directly disappeared in the void. His body and soul were destroyed in an instant, leaving nothing behind. What? When the other experts saw this, they were so scared that their faces turned pale. The experts retreated like the tide. Only the quasi-supreme existences were unafraid of these lightning bolts. A destructive bolt of lightning blasted towards the old tortoise. The old tortoise sneered. With a wave of his hand, the terrifying bolt of lightning that was about to hit the old tortoise dissipated in the void. Of course, the other quasi-supreme existences did not have the same cultivation and combat power as the old tortoise. The lightning that exploded from the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's lightning combat physique made them look rather pathetic. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud clap of thunder that shook the heavens and the earth. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord's lightning combat physique instantly turned into a huge ball of lightning that smashed towards Ji Fei. Endless destructive lightning bolts shot out from the ball of lightning, tearing the heavens and the earth apart. The entire sky and the void shook under the tyrannical power of the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's lightning combat physique. Everyone looked at the scene in shock. Ji Fei directly punched out, and the terrifying huge thunderball was directly blasted into the sky like a rubber ball, directly flying into the starry sky. Master, Zizun was completely dumbfounded when she saw this. That was an invincible existence in the extreme mysterious realm. How could he be sent flying with a single punch? To Zizun, this was like a dream. The scene before her eyes was too surreal and too surreal. In the extreme mysterious realm, no one would believe this if they told others about it. The mighty extreme mysterious Realm Lord's lightning combat physique had been sent flying with a single punch. Some of the elites from the extreme mysterious realm nearly wet their pants in fear. Who is this person? Why haven't I heard of such a formidable person in the heavenly realm? Is that the new apex powerhouse? Could he be Di Jotian? Di Jotian was rumored to be one of the strongest existences in the heavenly realm. He was extremely powerful and had never been defeated since his debut. The elites from the extreme mysterious realm had a certain understanding of the heavenly realm. However, Ji Fei had been gone for too long. The people from the extreme mysterious realm did not recognize Ji Fei at all. Ji Fei's return this time had truly frightened many people. He wasn't called the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's lightning combat physique for nothing. At that moment, the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's lightning combat physique crashed into the starry sky. Along the way, stars were constantly smashed into smithereens. The pitch-black starry sky was filled with dazzling lights from time to time. Zizun shot up into the sky and chased after the extreme mysterious Realm Lord's lightning combat physique. Where do you think you're going? A silhouette rushed out and blocked Zizun, who was about to rush into the starry sky. This person was also dressed in a purple robe. Her face was covered and she was a woman with long, flowing hair. That is, the elites from the heavenly realm were shocked when they saw the woman in the purple robe. She was the princess of the Qin clan, Qin Yarrow. There's going to be a good show. The princess is going to make a move. Hehe, this girl from the heavenly realm is in for it. None of the elites from the heavenly realm were optimistic about Zizun. What is she doing here? Ji Yufei could not help but frown when he saw Qin Yaro. Qin Yaro was also a quasi-utmost being. As the daughter of a princess, her cultivation was naturally not weak. However, the cultivation of this woman from another world was not weak either. If these two powerful female experts were to clash, it would be rather difficult for a victor to be determined. Who was Ji Yufei? He used to be a supreme existence in the eternal realm. He could tell at a glance that the two women's cultivation bases were about the same. Scram. Zizun was burning with anxiety. She wanted to know what had happened to her master. How could she be in the mood to fight Qin Yaro? She immediately took out a battle spear and stabbed it towards Qin Yaro's forehead. The powerful Dao weapon emitted a dazzling divine light that cut through the void. She wanted to force Qin Yaro to retreat. Qin Yaro sneered. She waved her right hand and slapped the incoming battle spear to the side with her bare hands. What? Zizun was taken aback. She felt a strong force coming from the battle spear, so strong that she almost lost her grip on it. Who are you? Zizun stared coldly at Qin Yaro. The person who will kill you. Chapter 4309. The clone of the extreme mysterious realm's lord had descended and was preparing to attack the heaven realm. However, Ji Yufei had made a move and the extreme mysterious realm's lord's clone was unlucky. The clone was sent flying into space by Ji Yufei's punch. The beloved disciple of the extreme mysterious realm's lord, Zizun, was frightened out of her wits. She hurriedly chased after the clone. However, at that moment, the Qin clan's princess, Qin Yaro, suddenly appeared and intercepted Zizun. One was the beloved disciple of the realm lord, while the other was the daughter of a supreme realm lord. Both Zizun and Qin Yaro were extremely powerful. Any one of them was an overlord of a realm. The clash between the two female experts would definitely create the most dazzling sparks. Everyone looked at the two figures in the sky anxiously. You want to kill me? Just you alone? Zizun stared at Qin Yaro and said coldly. She was only afraid of Ji Yufei, who had sent her master's clone flying with a single punch. She did not care about anyone else at all. Whether I can kill you or not, we'll know once we try. As Qin Yaro spoke, she stretched out her right hand. 5 rays of divine light shot out from her 5 fingers and pierced through Zizun. These 5 rays of divine light were more powerful and terrifying than a real divine spear. They pierced through the void and left behind 5 pitch-black spatial cracks wherever they passed. Zizun sneered. With a thought, a divine shield immediately appeared in front of her. The 5 rays of divine light pierced through and landed on the divine shield. The divine shield vibrated intensely. Countless ancient symbols emerged on the surface of the divine shield, blocking the 5 piercing beams of divine light. Boom! The divine shield in front of Zizun shook violently and the 5 rays of divine light immediately shattered. They turned into specks of spiritual light and dissipated into the void. Bam! At that moment, Qin Yaro's body flashed and her fist landed on the divine shield in front of Zizun. A cracking sound immediately came from the divine shield. Countless runes dissipated and a fist mark was left on the divine shield. Zizun was shocked when she saw this. Eat my fist again. Qin Yaro roared angrily and punched the divine shield again. In the next moment, Zizun was sent flying 1,000 miles away along with the divine shield. Can't even take a single blow. Qin Yaro took a step forward and chased after him, entering the starry sky. The other Heaven Realm experts who were watching the battle also rushed into the starry sky. A battle of this level was not something that could be seen casually. At this moment, countless rays of divine light burst forth from the starry sky, covering the sky and earth as they pierced towards Qin Yaro, who had just entered the starry sky. They were extremely fast. Qin Yaro waved her hands and a huge whirlpool appeared in front of her. Rumble! The void trembled as the power of the heaven-devouring realm erupted. The surrounding heaven-devouring chi madly gathered towards the vortex in front of her. Kill! With a furious roar, Zizun brandished her battle spear and directly attacked Qin Yaro. She raised the battle spear in her hand and it immediately pierced towards the center of Qin Yao's brows. Qin Yao dodged to the side and retaliated. The two female quasi-supremes began to fight. When everyone saw this scene, they were all shocked. The Qin clan's killing technique was extremely powerful. Qin Yao suddenly turned into nothingness and her body became blurry, but her speed suddenly increased. Bang! A dull sound of collision was heard. Qin Yao's palm landed on Zi Zun-er's back. Zi Zun-er sneered. In the next moment, her clothes were torn, revealing the purple-gold battle robe underneath. Although she was hit by Qin Yao's palm, the purple-gold battle robe on her body blocked all the power of the palm. Swoosh! The cold light of the spearhead tore through the void. Zi Zun-er's battle spear in her hand stabbed out. Qin Yao suddenly retreated and dodged the attack. It was hard for the two female quasi-supremes to defeat each other. Their cultivation and battle prowess were almost on par. It wasn't an easy task to settle the grudges between the two of them in one go. These two girls, seeing this, Ji Yufei couldn't help but shake his head. The two of them wanted to determine the winner. However, for a moment, the two of them only fought until the sky turned dark. The princess really lives up to her reputation. The foundation of the Qin clan is indeed not to be underestimated. The experts of the Heaven Realm were discussing among themselves. As an emperor clan, the foundation of the Qin clan was deep and profound. The battle strength that Qin Yao had displayed shocked everyone. Go to hell! Qin Yao roared angrily. In an instant, she turned into a ray of divine light and pierced through Zi Zun-er. Wherever she passed, everything was annihilated. Die! Zi Zun-er also roared angrily. Her figure suddenly disappeared and was replaced by a ball of purple light that seemed to be able to devour everything. It rushed towards the divine light. What kind of divine ability is this? When the experts of the Heaven Realm saw Zi Zun-er's attack, their eyes lit up. In an instant, the two forces collided with each other. In the next moment, the divine light dissipated and the purple aura filled the air. Two figures fell out of the void. Both of them had messy hair and blood at the corner of their mouths. When everyone saw this scene, they were shocked. Both sides are injured. Everyone was surprised and bewildered, and even Ji Yufei frowned. Women are so fierce when they fight. The old tortoise sighed. What are you talking about? Yang glanced at the old tortoise. No, nothing. The old tortoise shrunk his neck and said quickly. This sister-in-law's cultivation was higher than his. He couldn't afford to provoke her. The old tortoise was rarely afraid of people, but Yang was definitely one of them. He didn't know how Yang cultivated, but her cultivation was actually higher than his. This made the old tortoise very depressed. One should know that he was the son of the Tai Huang. The bloodline that the old tortoise possessed was absolutely heaven-defying. The Tai Huang was also one of the strongest existences in the Heaven Realm since ancient times. The old tortoise who possessed the Tai Huang bloodline would naturally advance by leaps and bounds in the early stages. Of course, possessing the Tai Huang bloodline was also a test for the old tortoise. The suppression of the bloodline would make it harder for him to become an extreme grade sovereign. However, before reaching the extreme grade, the old tortoise's cultivation speed was not comparable to Yang-er's. However, the moment the old tortoise saw Yang-er again, he was stunned. Peak quasi-supreme. How was this possible? This was a state where she had 1 foot in the extreme grade sovereign realm. The old tortoise had cultivated for countless years, but his cultivation was only at the mid-level quasi-supreme. He was still miles away from the peak. The old tortoise didn't dare to provoke Yang-er the most because she was Ji Yufei's wife. What did Ji Yufei have the most? He had the most extreme grade saint weapons. Yang-er definitely had one to protect herself. In terms of cultivation, the old tortoise couldn't compare to Yang-er. In terms of extreme grade saint weapons, Yang-er also had one that was not weaker than the Tai Huang seal. The old tortoise sadly realized that he couldn't even compare to Ji Yufei's wife. The warm-up is over. You can die now. Qin Yao stared at Zi Zun-er. In the next moment, a shocking aura erupted from her body, causing the heavens to lose their color. Ha ha, show me what you've got. You think I'm afraid of you? Chapter 43:10. Princess Qin Yaro's attack was no small matter. Princess Qin Yaro's physique was definitely not inferior to the Tai Huang's. This was because the Qin clan's ancestor, the invincible Emperor Lord's cultivation, was not inferior to the Tai Huang. The Qin clan had a complete extreme Dao inheritance and a perfect extreme Dao artifact. As for Princess Qin Yaro, the descendant of the Emperor Lord, she had unimaginable cultivation resources. No one knew what heaven-defying treasures the Emperor Lord had left behind for Qin Yaro. However, there was no doubt that Qin Yaro had been invincible ever since she was born. She had never been defeated. Of course, she did not dare to challenge Ji Yufei. After all, even the Qin Emperor knew that he was no match for Ji Yufei. Qin Yaro's cultivation was still slightly weaker than the Qin Emperor's. However, Zizun was not a kind person. She was the beloved disciple of the Extreme Mysterious Realm's Realm Lord. The Extreme Mysterious Realm Lord doted on his disciple very much. He had imparted all his skills to her and helped her search for peerless divine materials and medicines to help her cultivate. Zizun cultivation naturally rose along with it. Otherwise, Zizun would not have become a quasi-supremacy after cultivating for only 3,000 years. Countless cultivators had cultivated for tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, or even millions of years, but none of them had reached the threshold of a quasi-supremacy. In the entire universe, there were countless geniuses and monstrous geniuses who could not take that step in their entire lives. Those who could become a quasi-supremacy were all monstrous geniuses. At this time, in the sky above the heaven realm, two female quasi-supremacies were facing each other. One was shrouded in purple aura, while the other was shrouded in black and white aura. A yin-yang diagram was faintly discernible. Yin-yang qi? Ji Yufei was surprised to see this. The Qin clan's ancestor had cultivated the yin-yang great Dao. This great Dao was very difficult to grasp. If she was not careful, she would go berserk and die. Qin Yaro must have suffered a lot to be able to cultivate to the quasi-supremacy realm. The legendary Yin-Yang Emperor's inheritance. Someone exclaimed. The Yin-Yang Emperor was actually the Qin clan's ancestor, the Yin-Yang supremacy. According to the legends, he was an invincible existence comparable to the Tai Huang. Yin-Yang Great Dao? When Zizun saw the abnormal sign on Qin Yaro's body, she felt somewhat nervous. The power of yin and yang could not be underestimated. Purple Sun Dao body? Qin Yaro did not dare to be careless. The Purple Sun Dao constitution was an extremely rare constitution even in the heaven realm. In the current heaven realm, even the Purple Sun Sacred Land had not produced a Purple Sun Dao constitution for more than 100,000 years. The Purple Sun Sacred Ground of the heaven realm was a force that had existed for countless years. The founder of the Purple Sun Sacred Ground was a Purple Sun Dao body cultivator who became the Purple Sun Supreme. It's the Purple Sun Daoist body. At this moment, the Purple Sun Holy Ground's sacred leader's expression was very interesting. Violet Sun breaks the heavens, kill. Zizun made her move. With a roar, she disappeared into the void. In the next moment, a purple divine sun appeared in the sky. The divine sun blasted towards Qin Yaro. Rumble. The entire world was shaking. The power of the purple sun was extremely strong. All the heaven realm experts who were watching the battle were shocked. Zizun was indeed powerful. It was no wonder that she dared to cross realms and follow the extreme mysterious realm lord's incarnation to conquer the heaven realm. Yin-Yang Great Shift. Qin Yaro's hands moved in front of her, and the power of yin and yang surged out. The void in front of her immediately trembled. The yin and yang qi revolved, and the entire sky seemed to be flipped upside down. A huge yin-yang diagram appeared in front of Qin Yaro. The purple sun directly collided with the yin-yang diagram. Buzz. The void vibrated, and the yin-yang diagram shook violently. The yin and yang qi surged, and countless ancient yin-yang Dao patterns appeared on the diagram, activating the yin-yang Great Path's power. Diverting the power elsewhere. What a waste. Ji Yufei muttered to himself. Zizun's purple sun was extremely strong. If he could refine and devour it, he would be able to increase his cultivation and combat power. Among the 9 secrets of the immortal path, there was a secret technique that allowed one to devour the power of others for one's own use. It's indeed wasteful. Old Tortoise nodded. In the next moment, the dazzling purple sun disappeared into the void, and only a huge yin-yang diagram was left in the sky. The Heaven Realm experts who were watching the battle were dumbfounded. Inner world, Ji Fei said. The purple sun that Zizun transformed into would not disappear for no reason. It must have been pulled into Qin Yarrow's inner world. Is she really risking her life? Old Tortoise was shocked. She even used her inner world. This was definitely the rhythm of risking her life. If her inner world was destroyed, even if she didn't die, she would be half dead. This was a great battle that could not be seen. Even Ji Fei found it difficult to see Qin Yarrow's inner world, let alone the others. Everyone stared at the yin-yang diagram in the sky. The yin-yang Dao diagram constantly shook, and an ancient aura gushed out from it. It was as if this wasn't a Dao diagram condensed from the power of yin and yang, but a true yin and yang Dao tool. The power of yin and yang on the yin-yang diagram was getting stronger and stronger. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud sound. The yin-yang diagram suddenly exploded, and the violent power of yin and yang spread out in all directions. The void directly collapsed, shattered, and annihilated. A figure rushed out from the shattered void, directly rushed into the depths of the starry sky, and instantly disappeared. Her speed was extremely fast. Everyone was startled. At this moment, another figure rushed out. The power of yin and yang lingered around this person. She was the princess of the Qin clan, Qin Yarrow. Who won and who lost? Everyone was very curious. Probably both sides suffered heavy losses. Someone said. That little girl from the otherworldly world lost. Old Tortoise's eyes were very sharp. At this moment, Qin Yarrow was in an extremely sorry state. Her hair was disheveled, her clothes were tattered, and her body was stained with blood. Even her veil was soaked in blood. Even if Qin Yarrow won, it would be a Pyrrhic victory. Ji Fei said indifferently. Qin Yarrow directly soared into the sky, turned into a divine light, and disappeared into the distance. The princess of the Qin clan has never been in such a sorry state before. Xiaoqing, who was standing at the side, said. The princess of the Qin clan had been in the limelight for the past few years, and she was almost invincible. Even Xiaoqing felt ashamed of his own inferiority. Of course, there were not many people in the Heaven Realm who could stand shoulder to shoulder with the princess of the Qin clan. At this moment, the passageway that connected to the extreme mysterious realm in the depths of the starry sky shook violently, as if an even more powerful existence was trying to cross over. A terrifying aura descended from the starry sky. What's going on now? The experts from the Heaven Realm were shocked. First, an incarnation of the extreme mysterious Realm Lord had been chased away. Now, an even more ruthless one had appeared. Chapter 43:11. The Heavenly Realm had always been the eye of the storm. The extreme mysterious realm's invasion had always been focused on the Heavenly Realm. Suddenly, in the depths of the Heavenly Realm, stars exploded one after another. Terrifying destructive energy filled every inch of space as a huge arm broke through the void and reached out. Countless powerhouses in the Heavenly Realm were alarmed. Even some old monsters who had been in hibernation for countless years jumped out. Boom! In the eastern region of the Heavenly Realm, a sacred mountain suddenly exploded as a golden figure rushed out from the shattered sacred mountain. Roar! That figure roared into the sky, causing the stars to tremble. It was a divine ape the size of a small mountain. Its entire body was covered in golden fur, and an extremely violent aura erupted from the divine ape's body. Tianfei. Those fellows succeeded. The golden divine ape's aura was rapidly weakening. Not even a trace of its aura could be felt from the divine ape's body. At that moment, powerful auras also emerged from the various sacred grounds and sacred grounds. In a forbidden area of the southern region of the Heavenly Realm, the shadow of a divine bird the size of a mountain appeared in the sky. A terrifying aura emanated from the shadow. Every living being in the entire southern region was trembling. We've finally succeeded, ha ha, A loud laugh rang out as a figure broke through the forbidden area and soared into the sky. "We've succeeded." An old voice rang out from an ancient palace outside the forbidden area. A figure who had been sitting cross-legged for an unknown amount of time suddenly opened his eyes. Two beams of dazzling divine light shot out from his eyes. Ha ha, ha ha. It was as if two bolts of lightning had suddenly flashed through the dark void. An old man walked out of the bone palace. The old man's back was slightly hunched, but his eyes were firm and his footsteps were steady. Suddenly, a figure descended from the sky and landed in front of the old man. "Old ancestor," little Peng greets the old ancestor. That person immediately knelt before the old man. "I thought that you wouldn't be able to make it and would die in there. Who would have thought that after so many years, you would actually make it?" "Very good, ha ha." The old man laughed heartily as tears streamed down his face. This old man was the old ancestor of the Tian Peng tribe. The ragged young man kneeling in front of the old man was the little Peng Emperor of the past. Back then, the golden-winged little Peng Emperor was defeated by Jiyu Fei and rescued by the Tian Peng race's ancestor. Very quickly, news of the little Peng Emperor's death spread throughout the Tian Peng race. Everyone thought that the little Peng Emperor had died. No one expected the little Peng Emperor to still be alive. Furthermore, he had survived the trial left behind by the Tian Peng race's primogenitor, and his cultivation had improved greatly. The Tian Peng race has been silent for a long time. It's time for them to shock the world with a single brilliant feat. The old man looked at the golden-winged little Peng Emperor, who was kneeling in front of him, and felt gratified. Originally, he thought that there was no hope for the Tian Peng race. That was why he had been sitting in the ancient palace for thousands of years. But now, the little Peng Emperor was not dead. Not only that, his cultivation base had improved greatly. Thus, the old rock's fighting spirit was once again ignited. The Tian Peng race is not weaker than humans. The little Peng Emperor's eyes were extremely sharp. There was always a shadow in the depths of his heart. At the same time, experts appeared in the extreme North Snowfield, West Li, and North Desert Buddhist domain. And in the depths of the 100,000 Devil Mountains, a devil shadow rushed out from a devil valley. A powerful devil aura spread in all directions, and thousands of devils roared. The entire 100,000 Devil Mountains was shrouded in devil chi. A terrifying and monstrous demonic aura filled the air. At this moment, the entire 100,000 Devil Mountains became lively. Numerous devils danced in the air. Powerful devil shadows constantly appeared in the midst of the devil chi. Undying Devil Lord. At this time, a figure appeared in the sky without any warning. He cupped his hands towards the devil shadow. "It's you." "What? Even a lord like you can't handle those fellows from the heavenly realm?" The devil shadow said coldly. "That Jiyu Fei truly lives up to his reputation. Even my lightning battle physique is not his match." That person said. His expression was somewhat sad. He had underestimated the experts from the heavenly realm. The heavenly realm was a complete great world. It could give birth to an extreme supremacy. If your true body had crossed over, how could Jiyu Fei be a match for you? The undying devil lord sneered. "Are you asking me to die?" That person's tone became extremely cold. If Jiyu Fei was here, he would be shocked to see this person. This person was the extreme mysterious realm lord. Of course, this extreme mysterious realm lord was just a clone. This was not his real body. Although the extreme mysterious realm lord was strong, this was the heavenly realm, not the extreme mysterious realm. The heavenly realm had the power of heavenly punishment. This was a power that could kill a supremacy. You are the lord of a realm. Why would you be afraid of the power of heavenly punishment? The undying devil lord said disapprovingly. The clone of the extreme mysterious realm lord was very displeased. As the lord of a realm, the extreme mysterious realm lord was extremely shrewd. This guy was just trying to provoke the extreme mysterious realm lord into coming to the heavenly realm. He did not want to be used as a tool. Alright, let's think about how to deal with Jiyu Fei's revenge. The undying devil lord said solemnly. Jiyu Fei was not someone to be trifled with. Based on his personality, How could he let the extreme mysterious realm lord off so easily? Moreover, the demons of the 100,000 Devil Mountains had already attacked. The southern region of the heavenly realm was extremely vast. This was the territory of the southern heaven god emperor, Kang Xiao. It was also the ancestral land of the southern region's fire tribe. The 100,000 Devil Mountains also occupied a portion of the southern region. These three major forces fought against each other. None of them could completely defeat the other, and none of them could unify the southern region. Even Jiyu Fei had only defeated the fire tribe of the southern region. He did not completely eradicate the fire tribe, because the fire tribe's existence could restrain the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Now, the 100,000 Devil Mountains had secretly colluded with the extreme mysterious realm lord. They wanted to borrow his power to break the balance of power in the heavenly realm. However, the heavenly realm was much more complicated than the demon masters of the 100,000 Devil Mountains had imagined. Even the extreme mysterious realm lord's clone was sent flying by a single punch from Jiyu Fei. The Qin clan's princess, Qin Yaro, had also defeated Zizun Er. When the news reached the extreme mysterious realm, the entire realm was shaken. All the forces were in disbelief. The extreme mysterious realm lord was an invincible existence in the extreme mysterious realm. How could he be defeated? Although it was only a clone, it was still impossible. How could there be an existence in the heavenly realm that could go against the extreme mysterious realm lord? Revenge. The extreme mysterious realm lord's clone left the 100,000 Devil Mountains. He looked in the direction of the central region and smirked. If that guy dares to enter the extreme mysterious realm, the realm lord will immediately kill him. Wait. If I can lure that guy to the extreme mysterious realm. Chapter 43:12. Heavenly Realm, Southern Region, 100,000 Demon Mountains. The extreme mysterious realm lord's clone was about to leave. Just then, a giant hand broke through the clouds and descended from the sky. It landed directly on the 100,000 Demon Mountains. Violent waves of energy surged from the giant hand. Boom! Following an earth-shattering sound, the giant hand that was large enough to cover the entire sky slammed into the ground. In the next moment, countless mountains crumbled, the earth sank, and dust filled the sky. It was as if doomsday had arrived. The extreme mysterious realm lord's clone was shocked to the core when he saw this. Roar! A furious roar came from the 100,000 Demon Mountains. This attack directly wiped out countless demonic mountains, and countless demonic creatures directly collapsed in the void, turning into clouds of blood mist that dissipated in the void. What's going on? Could it be? The extreme mysterious realm lord's clone thought of something and stared at the scene in front of him in disbelief. Rumble! The void was trembling. Black spatial cracks that looked like black lightning constantly appeared in the void. The entire void became very unstable. Jiyu Fei, what are you trying to do? An old voice came from the 100,000 Demon Mountains. Haha, what am I trying to do? You demons better behave yourselves. If you come out and cause trouble again, I will flatten the 100,000 Demon Mountains. A voice came down from the sky. Damn it! All the demons in the 100,000 Demon Mountains were shocked. The legendary great murderer of the human clan had actually attacked them. The palm that descended from the sky had almost destroyed half of the demons. This kind of combat power was too terrifying. The great murderer of the human clan definitely had the ability to flatten the 100,000 Demon Mountains. However, the 100,000 Demon Mountains were not to be trifled with. No one knew the depth of the 100,000 Demon Mountains. There must be a reason why the demonic territory could exist for so long. Otherwise, with so many powerful forces in the heavenly realm, why couldn't they flatten the 100,000 Demon Mountains? One should know that demons were the greatest enemy of all living beings. At this moment, there was no longer any sound coming from the 100,000 Demon Mountains. When the news of Jiyu Fei intimidating the entire 100,000 Devil Mountains with his own strength spread out, the entire heaven realm was shaken and countless people were extremely excited. Is Jiyu Fei going to attack the 100,000 Demon Mountains? Someone said. This is just a warning. You're all thinking too much. You guys are thinking too much. However, Ji Fei's palm technique that descended from the sky shocked the world. It was especially so for the incarnation of the extreme mysterious Realm Lord. He had personally witnessed Ji Fei's attack. That palm strike was so powerful that it killed countless demons. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord's clone was not to be. Unless Zhongxian were to descend with his true body, he would not be a match for Ji Fei with just his clone. However, the extreme mysterious Realm Lord did not want to take the risk. After all, he was now the Realm Lord of a realm. In the extreme mysterious realm, he was the supreme ruler. He didn't want any accidents to happen during the conquest of the Heaven Realm. If he died, everything would be over. Ji Fei did not expect that his palm strike would subdue the extreme mysterious Realm Lord. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord did not dare to provoke him again. However, Ji Fei was not someone to be trifled with. Heavenly Realm, Ancestral Court, Ancestral Hall. Brother, since you've already made a move, why didn't you take the opportunity to flatten the 100,000 demon mountains? Old Tortoise sat on the throne in the middle of the hall, looking at Ji Fei in confusion. With Ji Fei's current cultivation base, as long as he did not meet a real extreme supremacy, no one could do anything to him. In the heavenly realm, there were not many who could compete with him. The 100,000 demon mountains is not simple. Ji Fei glanced at Old Tortoise and said, "These forces that have been passed down for countless years will more or less have some trump cards," Old Tortoise said. There might be a trump card left behind by the extreme demon ancestors in the 100,000 demon mountains. Hehe, brother, you're too cautious. With your current cultivation base, I'm afraid no one in the heavenly realm is a match for you. Old Tortoise laughed. Compared to the 100,000 demon mountains, I'm more interested in the extreme mysterious realm, Ji Fei said. What? Does Big Brother want to go to the extreme mysterious realm? Little Ching hurriedly asked when she heard that. You're going to settle the score with the extreme mysterious Realm Lord? Old Tortoise asked in shock. The extreme mysterious Realm Lord was the lord of a realm and was extremely powerful. Moreover, the extreme mysterious Realm Lord was probably a supreme being who had achieved great success in the extreme path. He might even have taken the final step and cultivated the extreme mystic state. That's right. I want to let him know that the heavenly realm is not a place he can come and go as he pleases. Ji Fei's expression turned serious. When do you plan to leave? Old Tortoise asked. We'll talk about it after I've gone into seclusion and refined the 10 absolute demon star, Ji Fei muttered. He knew that the extreme mysterious realm most likely did not have the power of heavenly punishment. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been any extreme grade supremacies who wanted to cross over to this realm. The extreme mysterious realm definitely had more than one supremacy. Yang was not in the main hall. She had already bid farewell to Ji Fei and was beginning her training in the heavenly realm. After chatting with Old Tortoise, Xiaoqing, and the others for a while, Ji Fei got up and headed to the Demon Clan's seclusion grounds. He wanted to refine the 10 absolute demon star. The power contained within the 10 absolute demon star was too strong. Even if Ji Fei wanted to refine it in a short time, he would not be able to do so. The Demon Clan's seclusion grounds were located halfway up the sacred mountain. It was a stone cave. In the middle of the ancient cave, there was only a yellow cattail hassock. Apart from that, there was nothing else. At Ji Fei's cultivation level, he no longer needed to eat. Ji Fei looked around and then sat down cross-legged. The entire stone cave was enveloped by an array formation. Even if Ji Fei attacked with all his might, he would not be able to break the array formation. Ji Fei closed his eyes and rested. He wanted to adjust his condition to the best he could. Xiaoqing held the black rod in his hand and personally stood guard outside for Ji Fei. After a few hours, Ji Fei opened his eyes and flipped his right hand. A large star immediately appeared in the cave, filling the cave with a vast amount of demonic qi. A terrifying demonic aura emanated from the 10 absolute demon star. Even Ji Fei felt a little annoyed. How powerful! Ji Fei could not help but frown. This demon star was too powerful. Its demonic aura could trigger a cultivator's inner demons. Once the inner demons erupted, the cultivator would die. At that moment, the 10 absolute demon star flew up from Ji Yufei's hand and floated above his head. A moment later, Ji Yufei's body suddenly turned into a bottomless black hole that swallowed the power of the 10 absolute demon star. Chapter 43:13. What's going on? Why do I feel the presence of demons? Demons? Impossible. How can demons appear in my race's ancestral land? When Ji Yufei was refining the 10 extinction demon star, the formation in his seclusion ground could not completely block the aura of the star. A part of the demonic aura spread out from Ji Yufei's seclusion ground. With this, more than a dozen powerful divine senses rushed out from the ancestral land of the demon race. There were not many great demons in the entire demon race who were qualified to cultivate in the ancestral land of the demon race in the heaven realm. The aura emitted by these 10 great demons was extremely powerful. Every single one of them was a quasi-supreme existence. This was the demon race of the heaven realm, and also the source of the old tortoise's confidence. 13 great demons of the quasi-supremes were his subordinates. This kind of power was enough to sweep through the entire heaven realm, and even the human realm. 13 illusory figures walked over from all directions. These were all formed from the divine wills of the 13 great demons. To be able to manifest divine wills and walk in the world with their true bodies, this kind of ability could only be achieved by quasi-supreme beings. Greetings, my lord. When the 13 great demons saw the old tortoise standing in the sky, they quickly bowed. The old tortoise was now the common lord of the demon race in the heaven realm and also the clan lord of the dragon race. He was able to sit on the position of the demon lord not because he was the son of the Tai Huang, but because he had the strength. In the world of cultivation, strength was everything. No matter how strong your father was, as long as your son was trash, you could not sit on the position of the demon lord. The world of cultivation was a place that only cared about strength. When the old tortoise sat on the position of the demon lord in the heaven realm, he also competed with other great demons and defeated all the competitors before he could sit on the position of the demon lord. Disperse, what's there to see? The old tortoise waved his hand at his subordinates. Yes, my lord. The 13 great demon ancestors' divine senses quickly retreated. At this time, the demonic aura coming from Ji Yufei's seclusion ground became stronger, as if a supreme demon was awakening inside. The power of the 10 absolute demon star was absolutely terrifying. If it were anyone else, they would not even be able to withstand 1% of the essence of this demon star. Old Tortoise and Xiaoqing stood guard outside Ji Yufei's isolated cultivation grounds to protect Ji Yufei. At this time, countless experts of the demon clan in the ancestral land of the demon clan were alarmed. Great demons with high cultivation were watching nearby, while the weaker ones retreated far away. Time continued to pass. 3 days had passed, but Ji Yufei had no intention of coming out of seclusion. Inside Ji Yufei's secluded cultivation place, a huge star was faintly discernible amidst the monstrous devil qi. Good heavens! Ji Yufei, who was sitting cross-legged below the 10 extinction demon star, was still frantically devouring the 10 extinction demon star's essence energy. Ji Yufei had been devouring the 10 extinction demon star for 3 days, but there was no loss of essence at all. The devil path essence energy contained in the 10 extinction demon star was so huge that it had far exceeded Ji Yufei's expectations. Ji Yufei's cultivation realm was still there. He only lacked power. As long as he had enough power, his cultivation would naturally return to the corresponding realm. Good. Very good. Ji Yufei was surprised and overjoyed. After refining this demon star, his cultivation would most likely break through to the extreme supreme realm. He did not stop and continued to operate the mysterious art. Soon, another day passed. Time continued to pass, but the 10 extinction demon star was still faintly discernible in the void. Ji Yufei sat there for half a month. Boom. On one night, a shocking sound was heard. Then, the entire ancestral land of the demon clan began to shake. The essence energy from all directions frantically gathered towards the ancestral land of the demon clan. That is, another demon ancestor appeared in the demon clan? Outside the ancestral land of the demon clan, everyone was shocked. Inside the ancestral land of the demon clan, It was even more terrifying, as if doomsday had arrived. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth that had gathered in the ancestral land for countless years was disappearing rapidly. The old tortoise's figure appeared in the sky. At this time, the place where Jiu Fei was cultivating in seclusion had long exploded. The formation of the seclusion place had also collapsed. A powerful figure was sitting in the broken void. Rumble, deep in the sky, there was a faint sound of thunder. The peerless figure sitting in the broken void exuded a true extreme supreme realm aura. He actually broke through to the quasi-supreme realm? The old tortoise looked at the figure opposite him and muttered to himself. Jiu Fei's cultivation had actually risen to the mid-level quasi-sovereign realm, while the 10-extinction demonic star hovering above his head was still as vast as the ocean. This guy still hasn't stopped. Is he trying to break through to the great achievement quasi-supreme realm? The old tortoise saw that Jiu Fei was still sitting there with his legs crossed and was still operating the mysterious art. Streams of primordial chaos chi circled around his body, and streams of demonic chi fell from the 10-extinction demon star above his head before being refined and devoured. Although the demon star was only the size of a fist, the demonic chi that erupted from it was endless. If it wasn't for the demon star might have been refined into a peerless extreme supreme realm Dao weapon by an extreme supreme realm Dao weapon. Right now, Jiu Fei only needed power. Jiu Fei didn't need a Dao weapon because he himself was the most powerful Dao weapon in the world. At this time, the demonic forefathers in the ancestral land of the demon clan could no longer sit still. The aura exuding from Jiu Fei was too powerful. It shook their minds and made it difficult for them to calm down and cultivate. My lord, a demonic forefather went straight to the old tortoise. The old tortoise glanced at the demonic forefather. This guy was the patriarch of the Fire Monkey clan, the Fire Monkey patriarch. Then, the old tortoise flipped his right hand and a huge seal immediately appeared in his hand. Go! The old tortoise shouted. The seal immediately flew up from his hand and floated in the air above the ancestral land of the demon clan, suppressing the entire ancestral land. Soon, the terrifying demonic aura that enveloped the entire ancestral land of the demon clan disappeared. The demonic forefathers in the ancestral land of the demon clan immediately felt as if a huge rock that had been pressing down on their hearts had suddenly disappeared. They felt a wave of relief wash over them. That was the Grand Sovereign Seal. The old tortoise had used the Grand Sovereign Seal to isolate the terrifying aura coming from where Jiu Fei was. The days passed one after another. The Grand Sovereign Seal that floated above the ancestral land of the demon clan never disappeared. Just like that, 3 years passed. The heaven realm was in turmoil. Countless forces in the 5 heavens were fighting each other. The heaven realm gradually entered a chaotic era and countless experts jumped out. The golden spirit ape lineage rose in the east, the supreme fire lord of the fire clan in the south, and the palace lord of the snow god temple in the far north woke up from his deep slumber. The ancient Buddha of the west appeared with the Tao treasure of the ancient Buddhist lord. The great clans in the central region fought for supremacy. The Li clan, Qin clan, Jiang clan, Zhu clan, and Duanmu clan all had peerless experts or awakened powerful Tao treasures. The ancestral land of the demon clan, on the other hand, was relatively peaceful. However, on this day, a terrifying demonic mountain suddenly rose from the depths of the 100,000 demon mountains and rushed towards the ancestral land of the demon clan. At the same time, a black hole that absorbed and spat out Yellow Springs chi appeared near the ancestral land of the demon clan. There were also mysterious demonic forefathers near the ancestral land of the demon clan. They were the remnants of the heavenly demons. Chapter 43:14. Currently, the heaven realm was in a turbulent state. All the ancient forces that had existed for countless years had emerged. Even the golden spirit apes, which had disappeared for countless years, had reappeared in the world. They were an extremely powerful race. In the distant past, the golden spirit apes had produced an extreme supremacy. This was the supremacy's inheritance. In the heaven realm, the golden spirit apes were not the only ones with the supremacy's inheritance. At this time, Jiu Fei had been sitting there for 3 years. It was as if he had turned into a stone statue. The powerful demonic aura was sealed in one place by the Tai sovereign seal. However, the powerful demonic aura was getting stronger and stronger. The demonic power from the fist-sized demon star seemed to be inexhaustible. This shocked Old Tortoise and Xiaoqing. The legendary 10 absolute demon star was indeed powerful. This demonic power had been condensed for tens of thousands of years. It had been devouring the essence of the world to strengthen itself. The power condensed by this demon star was enough to transform it into an eternal demon star. However, this demon star seemed to have been tampered with. Although it had condensed such a vast and powerful demonic power, it did not give birth to spiritual wisdom. This made things easier for Ji Yufei. One must know that his primordial chaos force could refine all the essence of the world. Even an extreme supremacy would find it difficult to refine such a powerful demonic aura from the 10 absolute demon star. However, Ji Yufei was an anomaly. Rumble, demonic aura and primordial chaos force lingered around Ji Yufei. These two forces intertwined. When the demonic aura encountered the primordial chaos force, it dissipated and was refined into the most primordial essence, which was devoured by Ji Yufei. This guy's luck has always been so good. Old Tortoise could not help but exclaim when he saw this scene from afar. Although Ji Yufei had suffered setbacks since his debut, he was an unkillable cockroach. In the end, he managed to turn misfortunes into blessings and made it to where he was now. Now, he had obtained the supreme demon star, the 10 absolute demon star. If someone else were to obtain this supreme demonic item, it would be like chicken ribs, tasteless, yet a pity to discard. However, the person who obtained this magical item was Ji Yufei. Ji Yufei's strength was constantly increasing. Ever since his cultivation broke through to the mid-level of quasi-supreme realm, there were faint sounds of thunder rumbling in the sky. A destructive aura descended from the sky, as if the heavenly tribulation was about to descend. However, Ji Yufei carefully controlled it and did not let the tribulation descend. Could it be that Big Brother wants to cultivate to the peak of the quasi-supremacy stage in one go? Xiaoqing looked at the figure in front of him with a solemn expression. He, with your Big Brother's character, it's very possible. Old Tortoise laughed. Master, there are powerful enemies outside. How can you still smile? Xiaoqing said angrily. Although he and the old turtle were master and apprentice, they were also like brothers. Xiaoqing didn't have many misgivings in front of the old turtle, so he said whatever was on his mind. Haha, you don't know about this, right? Why didn't those fellows make a move? The old tortoise said disapprovingly. Currently, outside the ancestral land of the demon race, various forces had gathered and surrounded the ancestral land of the demon race. At this time, both Ji Yufei and Ji Yuling were in seclusion. Ever since Ji Yuling passed the tribulation, he returned to the ancestral land of the demon race and plunged into the depths of the ancestral land to refine the 9 Phoenix Cauldron. It had been 3 years, but Ji Yuling still hadn't come out. It seemed that Ji Yuling had encountered some trouble while refining the 9 Phoenix Cauldron. Master, why is that? Could it be that they're afraid of you, Master? Xiaoqing also felt that it was strange. Why did the people outside only surround the ancestral land of the demon race, but not make a move? You're overthinking it. If they were afraid of me, they wouldn't have come at all. Old Tortoise said indifferently. Could it be that they're afraid of my big brother? Xiaoqing came to a realization. His big brother, Ji Yufei, was a peerless monster in the eyes of these fellows in the heaven realm. No one was willing to offend him. Let me tell you. Those people outside are not afraid of that brat, Ji Yufei. It's because whoever makes a move first will be unlucky. Old Tortoise said. Whoever makes a move first will be unlucky? Xiaoqing was stunned when he heard this, but he immediately understood. Those fellows surrounding the ancestral land of the demon race came from different forces. None of them were willing to be the first bird to make a move, because whoever made a move first would be mercilessly beaten up by Old Tortoise. Who was Old Tortoise? He was the son of the Tai Huang, and he had the Tai Huang seal. Who would be willing to be the first to face him? This was no joke. Rumble, as if the great Tao was resonating, strange phenomena appeared where Ji Yufei was. The great Tao's voice lingered, as if a supreme existence was preaching. In these 3 years, the great herbs in the ancestral land of the demon race were lucky. The great Tao's voice lingered, which was very helpful for cultivators in comprehending the great Tao. In these 3 years, more than 10 great demons became saint venerables. There were many great demons who were stuck at the pinnacle of the great sage realm. When the enemies came, Old Tortoise issued a summon, and countless great demons gathered in the ancestral land of the demon race. However, no one expected Jiyu Fei to be cultivating in seclusion in the ancestral land of the demon race. He was an outsider, and a human, not a great demon. Some antique old demons were naturally unhappy, but since Old Tortoise and Old Demon Ancestor did not say anything, who dared to say anything? But soon, these old demons were surprised and happy because they found that under the influence of Jiyu Fei's great Tao's voice, their cultivation showed signs of breaking through. Then, more than 10 great demons became saint venerables, and 3 old demons showed signs of breaking through to the quasi-supreme realm. Old demons had cultivated for countless years, and there were many old demons who were stuck at the pinnacle of the holy venerables. 3 old demons showed signs of breaking through. How big of a deal was this? One had to know that even the top forces in the heavenly realm only had 1 or 2 quasi-supreme venerables. If 3 quasi-supreme venerables appeared in the demon race at the same time, it would shock the entire heavenly realm. Of course, this was somewhat unrealistic. It was too difficult to become a quasi-supreme venerables. A little carelessness could lead to death, and they could not even convert to the ghost Tao. Being blocked in the ancestral land and unable to enter and leave at will was really unpleasant. These days, Old Tortoise was already very impatient. He was not waiting for Jiyu Fei, but for his uncle. Why isn't that old guy back yet? In the ancestral palace, Old Tortoise reclined lazily on his throne. The upper echelons of the demon race sat on both sides of the throne. Xiaoqing stood below the throne, holding a black rod in his hand, and looked around. He was Old Tortoise's precious disciple. Although his cultivation was only at the holy venerate level, the demon ancestor level existences present did not dare to underestimate him. Old Tortoise's uncle was the old ancestor of the demon race. In terms of seniority, he was of the same generation as the Supreme Emperor. Chapter 43:15. In the heavenly realm, in the south of the ancestral grounds of the demon race, a demonic mountain floated in the void. Streams of demonic dragon-like demonic aura lingered around the mountain. The terrifying demonic aura spread in all directions. With the demonic mountain as the center, there was not a single living being other than demonic creatures within a radius of 10,000 miles. The demonic aura of the demonic mountain was too strong. Any living being infected by it would be demonized and turned into a hideous demonic creature. Amidst a pile of rubble, a black dog with 3 heads was tearing and devouring a Draco elephant beast. In another place, a demonic eagle shrouded in demonic aura swooped down from the sky and grabbed a Jiao dragon from an abyss, swallowing it as if it was eating a loach. Around the demonic mountain, one could see the silhouettes of terrifying demonic creatures. These demonic creatures had lost their minds and would pounce on other living beings whenever they saw one. Powerful demonic creatures even had their own consciousness. However, it was all murderous intent. They would kill on sight and devour because devouring could increase one's cultivation. Demonic cultivation was that simple. They could increase their cultivation by devouring the blood and qi of other living beings. This was also the reason why so many people had fallen into the demonic path. However, at this moment, countless rays of divine light suddenly descended from the sky. Swoosh! The demonic hound that was devouring the Draco elephant beast was nailed to the ground by the divine light. The divine light condensed and a golden sword shadow appeared. The sword shadow then dissipated in the void. The demonic hound growled and struggled a few times before it stopped moving. Countless rays of divine light descended from the sky. Countless demonic creatures were nailed to death by the descending sword light. A silhouette appeared in the sky. Powerful sword qi rippled in the surroundings, causing the void to tremble. The formless sword qi seemed as if it was going to split the heavens and the earth. This sword was extremely powerful and domineering. It exuded the aura of an ultimate emperor. Haha, I didn't expect her to come to the heavenly realm. In the ancestral hall of the demon race, the old tortoise suddenly opened its eyes. At this time, only the old tortoise and Xiaoqing were in the hall. The other demonic forefathers had already left the hall. They wanted to take advantage of this rare opportunity to meditate in seclusion. Who's here? Xiaoqing was very curious. Could it be that another enemy of the demon race had come? Sword tyrant of the world, who do you think has come? Old Tortoise suddenly smiled ambiguously. Could it be? Hearing this, little Qing's eyes lit up. At this moment, a white figure appeared in front of the Devil Mountain. An extremely tyrannical aura gushed forth from this graceful figure. That's right, this was a woman, an extremely domineering woman. Eastern Sky Tyrant King, what wind blew you to the heaven realm? At the peak of the Devil Mountain, a devil figure appeared. Kill. The white-robed sword god clenched her fists in the air and a domineering sword immediately appeared in her hands. In the next moment, without any hesitation, she slashed down at Devil Mountain. Whoosh! An extremely domineering sword light burst forth from the white-robed sword god's hand, slashing through the void and instantly arriving above the Devil Mountain. Everywhere the sword light passed, the void was directly sliced apart. The demonic figure on the Demon Mountain seemed to be taken aback. At the moment when the sword light landed, it instantly turned into a ball of demonic aura and dissipated in the void. Clang! The sword light fell and ruthlessly slashed at the Devil Mountain. The Devil Mountain shook violently, but it was not split in half. It only sank down and directly smashed into the ground, creating a huge pit. The ground undulated like waves. Roar! A terrifying roar came from the Devil Mountain. The demonic experts who were cultivating in seclusion on the mountain were all alarmed. It can actually block an attack from the Eastern Sky Tyrant King, someone exclaimed. The person who came was the ancestor of the Eastern clan in the human world, the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. The sword in the Eastern Sky Tyrant King's hand was one of the most powerful Dao treasures in the human world. The Grand Orient Sword was an extreme Emperor Dao treasure that could contend with extreme Dao treasures. Rumble! At this moment, the Devil Mountain shook and actually flew up from the ground. The demonic figure that had just disappeared appeared once again on the top of the mountain. A demon from the 100,000 Devil Mountains actually dares to leave the 100,000 Devil Mountains? The Eastern Sky Tyrant King stared at the demonic figure on the Devil Mountain and said coldly, "Ha ha." The terrifying demonic voice lingered between heaven and earth, and all the experts outside the Devil Mountain were shocked. Kill. Another roar was heard. In the distance, a figure appeared and directly smashed the spear in his hand. In the next moment, the spear directly pierced through the figure, as though it was just an illusion. What? The expert couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this. Want to kill me? Dream on. The demonic figure on the Devil Mountain was incomparably proud. Again, the figure in the distance strode over, and a terrifying murderous aura erupted from his body. At the same time, another powerful figure walked out and attacked the Devil Mountain. In an instant, the immortal Devil Mountain actually became the public enemy. However, since ancient times, demons had always been the public enemy. Hee, those fellows outside are fighting. In the demon race's ancestral land, the old tortoise laughed. Those fellows outside were actually fighting with the great Devil Mountain's demon ancestor. This was beyond the old tortoise's expectations. At this moment, the demon race's ancestor had yet to return. The old tortoise still didn't want to kill his way out. But without a doubt, this was definitely a good opportunity to kill all those fellows outside. Master, shouldn't we make a move now? Xiaoqing couldn't sit still any longer. Let's wait a little longer, let them fight until both sides are injured. The old tortoise wasn't in a rush. Once he was anxious, problems would arise. He wanted to maintain his clear-headedness. At this moment, outside the ancestral land of the demon race, an extremely violent energy fluctuation spread out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Several supreme figures were moving rapidly in the sky. Among them, there was a demonic figure that was extremely ferocious. He was actually fighting 1 against 3, yet he was still doing it with ease. This caused those fellows to be dumbfounded. This old devil's combat strength was too heaven-defying. The Eastern Sky Tyrant monarch didn't make a move. She disdained to join hands with others. If she made a move, the Great Devil Mountain's demon ancestor would definitely not be able to withstand it. World-devouring devil. That demonic figure roared towards the sky. He then opened his mouth and sucked in a breath. A heaven-devouring force immediately enveloped everyone. The three extremely powerful figures involuntarily flew towards the demonic figure's mouth, and it looked like it was about to swallow the three experts. Just at this moment, a resplendent sword light slashed down from afar. The demonic figure hurriedly retreated. Shua. Wherever the sword light passed, a pitch-black spatial tear was left in the void. Raw. Chapter 43:16. Outside the demon race's ancestral land, three quasi-supremes joined forces to fight against a demon lord in the 100,000 Devil Mountains. This demon lord was not an ordinary existence. He was exceptionally powerful and tyrannical. He was known as the primordial demon lord and was an existence comparable to the undead demon lord in the 100,000 Devil Mountains. The primordial demon lord's demonic might was unparalleled. He actually displayed the heaven-devouring demonic art in an attempt to swallow the three quasi-supremes in one go. Roar. The three quasi-supremes frantically struggled and roared. They wanted to break through the devouring power, but it was useless. If they were swallowed by the primordial demon lord, they would definitely die. The three quasi-supremes desperately attacked, but the primordial demon lord was too strong. The three quasi-supremes quickly flew towards the primordial demon lord's mouth. Just as the three quasi-supremes were about to be swallowed by the primordial demon lord, a sword light descended from the sky and directly split open a pitch-black spatial crack in front of the primordial demon lord, separating the primordial demon lord from the three quasi-supremes. The three quasi-supremes only felt the pressure on their bodies loosen. The powerful devouring power that enveloped them disappeared in an instant. Escaping from death, the three quasi-supremes broke out in a cold sweat. They directly rushed into the distance, instantly increasing the distance between them and the primordial demon lord. This demon lord really lives up to his reputation. In the demon race's ancestral land, the old tortoise said with a faint smile. He had dealt with the primordial demon lord many times over the years. The 100,000 Devil Mountains was the last demonic domain of the heavenly realm. For countless years, there were people who wanted to destroy the 100,000 Devil Mountains, but they never succeeded. There was once a ruthless person who killed his way into the depths of the 100,000 Devil Mountains, but in the end, he still retreated in defeat. In the depths of the 100,000 Devil Mountains, there was an extremely terrifying thing that even peerless experts had no choice but to retreat. In the present world, even the old tortoise, the demon race's lord, was unwilling to provoke the 100,000 Devil Mountains. However, ever since the day Gu Fei struck the 100,000 Devil Mountains, the 100,000 Devil Mountains and Gu Fei had become mortal enemies. This time, the primordial demon lord brought the demons to the sacred mountain to settle the score with Gu Fei. However, he was worried about the old tortoise and did not want to act rashly. Old Tortoise was a descendant of the Grand Emperor after all. He held the Grand Emperor's seal and had many experts under him. The demon race's ancestral land was once the Grand Emperor's place of enlightenment. No one knew what the Grand Emperor had prepared. For an existence like the Grand Emperor, it was impossible for him to not have a backup plan. With him making a move, the primordial demon head is doomed. Xiaoqing also laughed. The existence that sliced through the void was a black-clothed youth. This black-clothed youth carried a rusted sword on his back. "Those who block me shall die. Little fellow, were you the one who blocked me just now?" The primordial demon lord stared at the black-robed youth, his eyes narrowed into a thin line, and his gaze flickered. Everyone thought that the person who attacked was the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor. It should be noted that among all the quasi-sovereigns present, only the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor could compete with the primordial demon lord. Moreover, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor was also an expert in the sword Dao. With the Grand Orient sword in hand, even the primordial demon lord had to be wary of her. The Grand Orient sword was an ultimate Emperor Dao artifact that could stand shoulder to shoulder with an ultimate Dao artifact. Ji Fei. When the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor saw the black-clothed youth, he exclaimed in surprise. What? His Ji Fei? The experts from the celestial realm who were watching the battle nearby were also shocked. Among them, only a few had actually seen Ji Fei's face. However, anyone who knew of Ji Fei's existence was stunned. Ji Fei was the most terrifying person in the celestial realm. He had once killed so many people in the celestial realm that even the primordial Emperor Xian had been defeated by Ji Fei. The Southern Fire clan of the celestial realm had also been defeated by Ji Fei alone. As soon as he appeared, the entire world suddenly calmed down. Even if they had never seen Ji Fei before, they had more or less heard of Ji Fei. Isn't Ji Fei in seclusion in the ancestral grounds of the demon race? Someone asked in surprise. That's right. That Ji Fei is in seclusion. How could he possibly appear here? Many people came to their senses. It's not his real body. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor looked at the black-clothed youth with a somewhat complicated expression. This Ji Fei was not his real body, but a clone. To be precise, it was a clone, because only clones had flesh and blood. Not his real body. Everyone was shocked when they heard this. The aura emitted from this black-clothed youth was truly somewhat terrifying. His entire person was like an unsheathed peerless sword that no one dared to approach. Haha, little fellow, you underestimate your ancestor too much. You actually want to use a clone to contend with this ancestor? The primordial demon lord said coldly. It's enough to kill you. Ji Fei's clone looked indifferent. Is that so? The primordial demon lord suddenly stopped smiling. Go to hell. The primordial demon lord stretched out his right hand, and a demonic hand instantly appeared in the void, directly grabbing at Ji Fei's doppelganger. Violent demonic power surged out from the demonic hand, sealing off the surroundings. Shua. Without seeing how this clone of Ji Fei moved, a bright sword light suddenly appeared in the void, directly chopping at the terrifying demon hand that was grabbing at it. Where the sword light passed, the demon hand was instantly split in half, and then dissipated in the void. After the sword light split the demon hand, its momentum did not decrease, and it continued to slash at the primordial demon lord. Roar. The primordial demon lord looked up to the sky and laughed. Only to see him waving his right hand, and an extremely sharp sword light immediately rushed out from his hand. Although this level of sword chi was strong, it was almost impossible to defeat Ji Fei. Ji Fei waved his right hand casually, and the vines that wrapped around his body directly collapsed in the void. Shua. The sword chi was vast and mighty, and Ji Fei's clone directly faced his right hand. An extremely powerful murderous aura filled the air, and the temperature of the entire heaven and earth rapidly dropped. Ji Fei's clone moved. With a flash, his clone directly disappeared in the void, and in the next moment, he appeared above the primordial demon lord's head without any warning. Without any hesitation, this foot of Ji Fei's clone caused the void to collapse. Kill. The primordial demon lord roared, and a mass of black light erupted from his body, instantly taking this demon lord into it. This is, Ji Fei's doppelganger only felt the world spinning around him. He immediately understood what had happened. He had been plotted against by someone and had been sucked into the inner world. He saw that everything around him was pitch black, and there was no light at all. Haha! All of you are dead. The primordial demon lord's voice sounded in this pitch black void. Hehe, do you think you can destroy my clone like this? Chapter 43:17. Outside the ancestral grounds of the demon race, Ji Fei's sword principal clone was battling the primordial demon lord of the 100,000 demon mountains. Just as everyone was nervously thinking that they would be able to witness an unprecedented battle, the primordial demon lord actually used his inner world and sucked Ji Fei's sword principal clone into it. The primordial demon lord's inner world seemed to have nothing but darkness. There was no sky nor earth, just like a void. It was very strange. Unlike the heaven and earth. You want to use such a method to deal with me? You think too highly of yourself. Ji Fei's sword principal clone clasped his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "Haha. Little fella, you are still so calm even in the face of death. I have to admire you." The primordial demon lord's voice rang out from the void. TSK. Gu Fei's sword principal clone raised his middle finger. Scoundrels will always be scoundrels. Hiding your head but showing your tail. If you have the guts, come out and fight. Although it was just an incarnation, it was still domineering. Although the primordial demon lord was strong, could this fella be stronger than the primogenitor first demon of the ancestral realm? Kill. The primordial demon lord roared. In the next moment, boundless demonic fire erupted from the dark void. The terrifying demonic fire instantly engulfed Gu Fei's sword principal clone. The demonic fire caused the void to distort. In here, I am the ruler. Anyone who enters is just an ant. The primordial demon lord was incomparably arrogant. Is that so? At this moment, the voice of Gu Fei's sword principal clone rang out from the sea of fire. What, you? The primordial demon lord thought that once the demonic fire appeared, he would be able to burn Gu Fei's sword principal clone to ashes. But now, it seemed like he had thought too much. In the endless demonic fire, a figure stood there quietly. A ball of divine light spread out from his body, blocking the surrounding demonic fire. You! The primordial demon lord was extremely shocked. In his demonic void, even a peak quasi-supreme existence would end up dead and their Tao would disappear. Could this fella be stronger than a peak quasi-supreme existence? The primordial demon lord found it hard to imagine. Is that all you have? Gu Fei's sword Tao clone said indifferently. Go to hell. The primordial demon lord's voice came from all directions. Even Gu Fei's sword path clone could not sense the primordial demon lord. This guy seemed to be everywhere, but he could not sense his exact location. This was a world created by the primordial demon lord. He was the master of this place. With just a thought, he could appear anywhere in this place. In the endless demonic fire, terrifying demonic shadows appeared. Countless demonic shadows attacked Gu Fei's sword clone at the same time, like a black torrent that could destroy everything. Humph. No matter how powerful your demonic might is, or how powerful your magical techniques are, I'll break it all with a single sword strike. Gu Fei's sword incarnation held the rusty ancient sword on his back. Clang. The ancient sword was unsheathed, and in the next moment, the rust on the body of the sword fell off. A shocking killing intent erupted from the ancient sword, and the surrounding temperature dropped rapidly under the impact of the killing intent. Kill. Gu Fei's sword incarnation roared angrily, and the ancient sword in his hand swept out. An extremely dazzling sword radiance rushed out from the ancient sword, sweeping in all directions. Countless demonic shadows that rushed over exploded and turned into demonic chi. This sword not only destroyed countless demonic shadows, but also created a spatial crack in the void demonic realm. What? The primordial demon lord was shocked to the extreme. His opponent's sword could actually break the demonic realm he created. One sword cleaves the void. Gu Fei's clone attacked again, and the sword cleaved the void. In the next moment, wherever his sword radiance passed, the void was annihilated, and countless demonic patterns were dissipating. Damn it! The primordial demon lord was shocked and angry. In the next moment, a demonic weapon rushed out from his body. Clang! The demonic weapon collided with the divine sword in Gu Fei's hand, and an ear-piercing sound of metal colliding was heard. The demonic weapon of the primordial demon lord was directly cleaved into two by the sword of Gu Fei's clone, and the demonic patterns condensed within it dissipated, turning it into scrap metal. A demonic shadow appeared in the pitch-black void. Kill. Without any hesitation, Gu Fei's sword incarnation directly slashed at the demonic shadow, and the shocking killing intent made the heaven and earth pale. It was as terrifying as if this sword could destroy the heaven and earth. This was the 9 heaven punishing swords, a supreme killing move created by the sword slaves of the ancestral god realm. Even with the cultivation of the sword incarnation, Gu Fei could only slash 3 times. Swoosh! Demonic blood appeared, and the figure that fell out of the void was actually cleaved into 2 halves. The 2 halves of the demonic body directly turned into 2 waves of demonic chi, and instantly collided with each other. Then, they soared into the sky, and directly rushed out of the void. He actually didn't die. Seeing this, Ji Yufei's sword incarnation could not help but feel a little surprised. One should know that this sword of his was one of the 9 heaven-punishing swords. Not to mention half of a quasi-supreme, even a peak quasi-supreme would be killed by this sword. A little interesting. At this time, the inner world of the primordial demon lord began to collapse. Ji Yufei's sword incarnation took a step forward, and directly disappeared into the void. At this time, outside the ancestral ground of the demon clan, all the spectators stared at the void anxiously, waiting for the primordial demon lord and Ji Yufei's clone to appear. Boom! Without warning, a wave of demonic chi directly broke through the void and rushed out. Within the demonic chi, there was a demonic shadow. Everyone was shocked. Then, the void exploded again, and a sword light directly pierced through the void, directly chasing after the demonic chi. What's going on? Someone exclaimed. The primordial demon lord lost. The demonic chi directly rushed up the demon mountain. Rumble, in the next moment, the demon mountain shook violently, and endless demonic chi surged from the demon mountain, causing the entire sky and earth to suddenly darken. Clang! The sound of metal colliding was heard, and one demonic chain after another rushed out from the demon mountain, directly entangling Ji Yufei's sword incarnation. Ji Yufei's sword incarnation appeared in the void, and then with a roar, directly slashed at the countless entangling demonic chains. He did not use the 9 heaven-punishing swords. This was because he had already slashed 3 times, and his entire body's yuan qi was almost depleted. If he slashed a 4th time, he would collapse without the primordial demon lord doing anything. Even without using the 9 heaven-punishing swords, the power of this slash from Ji Yufei's sword incarnation should not be underestimated. Clang! Wherever the sword light passed, the entangling demonic chains were all cut. You deserve to die. The primordial demon lord roared angrily. Chapter 43:18. In the 100,000 demon mountains, there was a sacred mountain of the demons. Rumor had it that this sacred mountain was the greatest killing weapon in the 100,000 demon mountains. During the dark age of the demons, the sacred mountain of the demons had once appeared. According to legend, the 100,000 demon mountains existed because of the sacred mountain of the demons. Rumble, at this time, the sacred mountain of the demons was descending from the sky, blasting towards a figure with sword chi soaring into the sky. Endless demonic chi lingered on the mountain. Rays of black demonic light, like black lightning, appeared in the void around the sacred mountain of the demons. Each ray of demonic light tore the void between heaven and earth. The sacred mountain of the demons directly blasted down. The sky was about to collapse, and the void below the sacred mountain was full of cracks. Seeing the power of this attack, everyone watching the battle from afar was shocked. Even the eastern sky overlord was moved. The demons of the 10 despair demon mountains were still quite capable. Primordial demon is going all out. In the ancestral hall of the demon race, the old tortoise, who was lying on the throne, suddenly sat up. The primordial demon lord was not a nameless person. Even in that distant era, he was an overlord-level existence. Demons that could live until now were not simple. Big Brother's avatar, in the ancestral hall of the demon race, Xiaoqing could not sit still. The demonic aura had already spread to the ancestral hall of the demon race. It was hard to imagine how powerful this demon mountain was. What are you so nervous about? Although it's just an avatar of Ji Yufei, not everyone can destroy it, the old tortoise said calmly. At this time, outside the ancestral hall of the demon race, the sacred mountain of the demons bombarded. Ji Yufei's avatar was still calm and composed. He suddenly looked up, and in the next moment, the void around him distorted. Swish! Ji Yufei's sword principal clone instantly disappeared into the void, without a trace. This, at the peak of the demon's sacred mountain, a blurry figure was shocked to see Ji Yufei vanish into the void. He used the demon's sacred mountain to seal the void, but he never expected that Ji Yufei could escape into the void and disappear. The next moment, a sword's hum shook the heavens. Ji Yufei's figure appeared in the sky above the demon's holy mountain. Then, he swung his sword down at the demon's holy mountain. With this strike, Ji Yufei's sword Dao embodiment strength was nearly expended. 90% of his primordial energy was instantly expended, but the might of the strike was extremely terrifying. Clang! The peerless sword light broke through the layers of devil chi and directly struck the sacred mountain of demons. In the next moment, the entire sacred mountain of demons shook violently. A terrifying murderous aura filled the air, causing the temperature of the entire world to drop rapidly. The demonic shadow on the sacred mountain of the demons disappeared in an instant under the impact of the sword chi. A sword mark was left on the sacred mountain of the demons, and the entire sacred mountain was split from the sky. Boom! Amidst the earth-shattering sound, the demons' sacred mountain smashed into the ground. In the next moment, countless mountains turned into dust, and the ground undulated like waves. With the sacred mountain of demons as the center, a circle of dust that was tens of thousands of feet tall swept out in all directions. Everywhere it passed, mountains turned into dust, and countless living beings perished. Even the mountain gate of the demon clan's ancestral land was impacted, causing the ancestral land to shake. The demon clan's ancestral land was also where the dragon clan's ancestral dragon mountain was located. With ancestral dragon mountain in the center of the demon clan's ancestral land, there was no power that could truly shake the demon clan's ancestral land. Countless demonic inscriptions appeared in the void, blocking the terrifying storm that swept over. These two lunatics. The Heaven Realm experts watching the battle from afar were shocked by this apocalyptic scene. All of them retreated further away. It had to be known that it was no laughing matter if they were affected by this level of battle. Among all the experts present, only the Eastern Sky Tyrant King and a few others were still calm. The Eastern Sky Tyrant King came from the human realm, and was a peerless figure in the human realm. There were also many experts from the human realm present, and some even saw the figure of Ghost Emperor Fengju. The human realm was actually stronger than the heaven realm, because there was a human sovereign in the human realm. However, there was no human sovereign level expert in the heaven realm. Although there were many experts in the heaven realm, the Shongqing Sacred Master, the mysterious Heaven Sacred Master, and other experts were not on the same level as the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. The scene of a sword cutting down the demon's sacred mountain really shocked everyone, and even the Eastern Sky Tyrant King was a little moved. "Little guy, let's see how you can fight with me." The demon's sacred mountain, which had fallen to the ground, emitted a powerful divine thought wave. This divine thought wave was incomparably arrogant and incomparably arrogant. Countless ancient demonic inscriptions emerged and intertwined on the demon's sacred mountain, and monstrous devil chi surged out from the demon's sacred mountain, instantly enveloping the whole world. Within the devil chi, a terrifying devil shadow was faintly discernible, and its devil power shook the world. Meanwhile, Jiyu Fei's sword principal clone was very weak at this time, and his whole body was exhausted. The sword just now had almost drained his vitality. Hee. Jiyu Fei's sword principal clone suddenly laughed. "You can still laugh when you're about to die." The primordial demon master's divine thought spread out from the devil shadow. "TSK, who do you think you are? You're not qualified to kill me." Jiyu Fei's sword principal clone said disdainfully. Damn it. This peerless demon master was furious. The next moment, the terrifying devil shadow directly rushed out from the demon's sacred mountain, and fiercely pounced on Jiyu Fei's sword principal clone. The devil shadow's pounce seemed like the whole sky was about to flip over. "Let me play with you." Just as the demonic shadow was about to pounce on Jiyu Fei's sword Dao embodiment, a fist came from the side and smashed the demonic shadow into smithereens. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. When they saw the person who attacked, they were even more shocked. They saw that the person who attacked was also a black-robed youth, and his appearance was exactly the same as Jiyu Fei. "Another doppelganger?" someone exclaimed. This black-robed Jiyu Fei did not emit a trace of aura, and he was just like an ordinary person. However, no one dared to underestimate him. Return to simplicity. Even an incarnation has this kind of cultivation. All the Heaven Realm experts were a little dumbfounded. Even the East Sky Tyrant King stared at the black-robed Jiyu Fei with incomparably sharp eyes. At this moment, Jiyu Fei's sword principal clone disappeared in the void. Another incarnation. "Do you dare to come out and fight with your real body?" The primordial demon master roared. "Ha ha! Do you think you're worthy of my real body? You think too highly of yourself." Jiyu Fei's incarnation laughed loudly. "What did you say?" The primordial demon master was almost going crazy. Today was not the first time he was looked down upon. Chapter 43:19. Another of Jiyu Fei's doppelgangers attacked. With a single punch, the terrifying demonic shadow that rushed out of the sacred mountain of demons exploded. Its combat power was so strong that it seemed to be even stronger than the sword doppelganger. The sword doppelganger retreated, and another doppelganger of Jiyu Fei faced the primordial demon lord. "Outrageous! How dare you look down on me?" The primordial demon lord went crazy. In the next moment, countless ancient demonic marks rushed out of the sacred mountain of demons and turned into demonic blades that slashed at Jiyu Fei's doppelganger. The overwhelming demonic blades shrouded the entire world, and each demonic blade emitted a demonic aura that made people's hearts palpitate. These were demonic blades formed from ancient demonic marks, and they were much more powerful than ordinary quasi-supreme demonic weapons. With countless demonic blades slashing down, even a peak quasi-supreme existence would probably kneel. An ordinary quasi-supreme would definitely not be able to withstand this attack. Even the East Sky Tyrant King's pupils shrank when he saw this scene. However, in the face of such a powerful attack, Jiyu Fei's doppelganger started punching. The seemingly slow punching technique actually displayed incredible power. Jiyu Fei's doppelganger made a circle with both fists, and a mighty fist wave surged out. The countless demonic blades that were slashing at him were immediately repelled. As Jiyu Fei's fist force unfolded, balls of fist force spread out from his body, shaking off countless demonic blades that were slashing down. Some demonic blades even directly collapsed in the void. Seeing this scene, everyone's eyeballs almost fell to the ground. What kind of combat skill was this? What kind of magical power was this? It actually had such power that it could block the primordial demon lord's earth-shattering attack. Martial path. The East Sky Tyrant King's eyes lit up. What this doppelganger of Jiyu Fei displayed was the truest, most primitive martial path. His punching technique was a martial skill. Moreover, this doppelganger of Jiyu Fei had already cultivated martial path to the realm of technique nearing Tao. The demons that charged out from the sacred mountain were either knocked away or scattered. On the other hand, Jiyu Fei's doppelganger's punches were getting stronger and stronger, as if there was no end to them. Rumble. The entire world seemed to be resonating with his fists. Every time he punched out, the entire world would tremble. His power was terrifying and towering. It was as though he could shatter the heavens with a single punch if he wanted to. This was actually a deduction process when Jiyu Fei created the Polar Breaker Fist. It wasn't the real Polar Breaker Fist. However, even with that being the case, the fist technique was definitely more powerful than extreme battle skills. All the quasi-sovereigns felt a heart-chilling power of destruction radiate from Jiyu Fei's clone. In the ancestral hall of the demon race, a light screen was showing the scene of Jiyu Fei punching outside the ancestral hall. Jiyu Fei's martial arts incarnation, the purest martial arts. Old Tortoise said. At this time, many demon races' patriarchs came to the ancestral hall. The battle outside was also very attractive to these demon races' patriarchs. One should know that everyone wanted to take a step forward, but that step couldn't be taken just by immersing oneself in cultivation. It depended on opportunities and even luck. This kind of battle between quasi-sovereigns was something that all the quasi-sovereigns needed to learn from. If they could comprehend something, it wasn't impossible for them to have an epiphany. Martial arts incarnation? Xiaoqing was a little surprised. He knew that his big brother had 2 incarnations, but these 2 incarnations rarely appeared. He didn't know what kind of power his big brother's 2 incarnations had. Only today did he know what abilities his big brother's 2 incarnations had. One of Jiyu Fei's incarnations was the Sword Dao incarnation. It cultivated the Sword Dao and mastered the 9 heaven punishing swords, which could kill quasi-sovereigns. On the other hand, his other incarnation was the Martial Dao incarnation. It was the purest Martial Dao incarnation. Compared to the Sword Dao incarnation, his incarnation was much stronger. One should know that Jiyu Fei was walking on the path of an expert that was based on Wu Nitian. At this time, a shocking change happened to the sacred mountain of demons. The huge demonic mountain kept shrinking, and soon, a figure walked out from the endless demonic aura. Everyone saw that the person who walked out from the demonic aura was actually a stone man. It was a pitch-black stone man, and the demonic aura emitted from the stone man was even stronger. This was definitely an extremely dangerous stone demon. One should know that this stone demon was formed from the sacred mountain of demons. Kill. The stone demon directly soared into the sky and pounced towards the figure in the sky. At this time, the primordial demon lord had already merged with the stone demon. The stone demon was the primordial demon lord. Kill. Jiyu Fei's martial Dao incarnation directly punched at the stone demon. The fist force exploded from his fist and shook the void. Roar. The golem let out a furious roar and punched out as well. Bam! A dull collision sound was heard. The fist of Jiyu Fei's martial Dao incarnation and the stone demon's fist collided. A strong force swept out in all directions with their fists as the center. The two figures flew out in an instant, and then immediately rushed towards each other. The stone demon that was formed from the sacred mountain of demons was extremely powerful. Be it its strength or demonic body, it was infinitely close to the extreme Dao realm. It was almost on the verge of stepping on the red line. Jiyu Fei's martial Dao incarnation was also extremely powerful. Every punch that was thrown was earth-shattering, and it erupted with frightening martial power. Wherever the two huge figures passed, everything was destroyed. All the experts who were watching the battle once again retreated further away. Even so, there were still some unlucky fellows who were affected by the battle. Bam! Jiyu Fei's martial Dao incarnation threw a punch, which was dodged by the stone demon. Behind the stone demon, a heaven realm old ancestor, who was thousands of miles away, suddenly exploded and turned into a cloud of blood mist. Both his body and soul were destroyed. The stone demon that was formed from the primordial demon lord pointed out with a finger, and a beam of demonic light directly pierced through Jiyu Fei's martial Dao incarnation. Jiyu Fei's martial Dao incarnation took a step forward and directly dodged the attack. The beam of light directly pierced through the body of an old ancestor who was watching the battle tens of thousands of miles away. The old ancestor could only let out a scream, and his whole body directly collapsed in the void. Another old ancestor had fallen. Everyone gasped when they saw this scene. Before these two great existences, ordinary quasi-supreme beings were simply as weak as ants. Big Brother's martial Dao incarnation is actually so powerful. In the demon race ancestral hall, Xiaoqing could not help but be surprised and overjoyed when he saw the scene on the light screen in the hall. The power displayed by Jiyu Fei's martial Dao incarnation was probably at the peak of the quasi-supreme's realm. You only know how powerful your big brother is now? Old Tortoise said disapprovingly. Chapter 43:20. The primordial demon lord was indeed one of the strongest existences in the 100,000 demon mountains. He was able to contend against the eternal demon lord. After fusing with the demon's sacred mountain, the strength of the golem he transformed into was monstrous. As long as he didn't step on the red line, he was almost invincible in both the heavenly realm and the mortal realm. Of course, it was only almost. There were existences that could contend against this golem, be it in the heavenly realm or the mortal realm. At this time, in the vicinity of the demon race's ancestral land, rays of divine light soared into the sky and directly entered the starry sky. Powerful energy fluctuations rippled between heaven and earth. Even in the demon race's ancestral land, more than a dozen rays of demonic light rushed out and turned into starry sky. These were all ancestor-level existences from the heavenly realm and the mortal realm. They appeared near the demon race's ancestral land at the same time and entered the starry sky at the same time. Since the Age of Darkness, neither the heavenly realm nor the mortal realm had so many big shots gathered together. The reason why they gathered here this time was for a great battle. The battle between Jiyu Fei's martial arts clone and the primordial demon lord in the 100,000 demon mountains had alarmed countless old antiques in the heavenly realm. Some of them had been in seclusion for hundreds of thousands of years. After sensing this battle, They also jumped out and came to watch. This was because the battle between Ji Fei's martial arts clone and the primordial demon lord represented the pinnacle battle below the Supremes. It was a great inspiration for all quasi-Supremes. No one was willing to miss such a battle. Rumble, heaven and earth shook and billions of stars trembled. Two supreme figures moved rapidly in the starry sky. Wherever they passed, stars were directly smashed. Roar! The golem roared at the sky. His body shook and 9 demonic shadows rushed out of his body. These 9 demonic shadows directly pounced towards Ji Fei's martial arts clone. Wherever the 9 demonic shadows passed, the void was silently annihilated, leaving behind pitch-black spatial cracks. When Ji Fei's martial arts clone saw this scene, his pupils involuntarily shrank. This guy's demonic path divine ability seemed to have some kind of knack. The 9 demonic shadows seemed to be able to corrode everything. This corrosive demonic chi was no small matter. As long as a strand of corrosive demonic chi touched one's body, even a quasi-supreme would be corroded to the point of death. At this moment, Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation was sitting cross-legged in the void. Whoosh! A beam of divine light rushed out from the space between his eyebrows. The space between his eyebrows split open as if a divine eye had suddenly opened. Then, a shadow rushed out from the space between his eyebrows. Buzz! A sword chime shook the 9 heavens, and the shadow that rushed out from between the eyebrows of Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation turned into a sword light. The sword light swept out and instantly cut the 9 demonic shadows in half. This was no ordinary sword light, but a Tao sword formed from the power of the primordial spirit. This kind of sword light could not harm the physical body, but was specialized in attacking the opponent's primordial spirit. The 9 demon shadows were formed by the golem's powerful divine sense. After the 9 demonic shadows were slashed by Ji Fei's primordial spirit Tao sword, they dissipated in the void and turned into demonic chi. It was as if they had never appeared. When the golem saw this, he could not help but be shocked. This guy could actually break his trump card. How was this possible? However, the truth wouldn't lie. Whoosh! After the sword light destroyed the 9 demon shadows, it instantly slashed in front of the golem. The golem could not help but feel extreme danger. He quickly tilted his body, and the sword light directly brushed past his face. The sword light directly slashed out thousands of miles before dissipating in the void. Little guy, the golem stared at Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation, wanting nothing more than to tear this guy into pieces. Enough, don't flaunt your seniority in front of me. I've killed living beings that are older than you, let alone you. Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation said coldly. What are you bragging about? There are existences that are older than me in this world. What a joke. The golem said disdainfully. He was the demon lord, the most ancient demon. In this world, living beings that were older than him had already died or disappeared. Cut the crap, let's fight. Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation took a step forward and instantly appeared above the golem's head. Then, he stomped down. This stomp seemed to trample the entire world under his foot. Heaven treading steps, this was a supreme martial technique created by Ji Fei. Bang! Without any suspense, Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation stomped the golem down from the starry sky. Boom! The golem consecutively smashed through several stars and then fell towards the ground of the heavenly realm. Seeing this scene, all the experts who were watching the battle nearby were stunned. This incarnation of Ji Fei was too strong. It actually stomped the golem down from the starry sky with 1 foot. This kind of combat power had exceeded everyone's expectations, including the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. The martial arts cultivation of this incarnation of Ji Fei had probably touched the extreme realm. This kind of cultivation actually appeared in an incarnation, which made the Eastern Sky Tyrant King shocked. 1 step to the sky defeated a demon lord. The power displayed by Ji Fei's heaven treading steps was really amazing. Damn it! The golem that the primordial demon lord had transformed into was almost going crazy. Countless cracks actually appeared on the invincible demonic body. This was something unimaginable to him. One had to know that the golem battle body was transformed from the demon's sacred mountain. Even an extreme Dao weapon would not be able to leave a mark on it. However, this stomp from Ji Fei's incarnation had shaken the golem battle body to countless cracks. This was already beyond the scope of power. This was no longer something that could be done with pure power. This stomp from Ji Fei's incarnation contained some kind of supreme power of the Great Path. It surpassed the extreme Dao. Only this kind of power could shatter the golem battle body transformed from the Demon Lord's sacred mountain. One hand to transform the sky. Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation directly took a step from the sky. With just one step, he caught up with the falling golem and then slapped a palm towards the golem battle body. The power of heaven transformation surged out from the palm of Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation. In the next moment, the golem battle body was actually blasted apart by this palm. Countless rocks shot out in all directions, and even the smallest one pierced through the void. The golem battle body collapsed, and a demonic shadow rushed out from the shattered golem battle body. In the next moment, the countless stones suddenly enlarged and turned into a broken demon mountain. Demonic chi filled the sky. Countless pieces of the demon mountain immediately gathered together. A ball of demonic light emerged and enveloped the entire demon mountain. In the next moment, the broken demon mountain actually reformed. Haha, as long as my race's sacred mountain is not destroyed, no one can destroy my race's sacred mountain. The primordial demon lord roared crazily, as if he had gone mad. Is that so? Chapter 43:21. The primal chaos had yet to split, but the sacred mountain of the devil race in the 100,000 devil mountains had a great origin. It had existed even longer than the primordial demon lord. Moreover, the sacred mountain of demons resonated with something in the depths of the 100,000 demon mountains. Even if it was taken away, as long as a demon summoned the sacred mountain of demons in the 100,000 demon mountains, the sacred mountain of demons would fly back to the 100,000 demon mountains immediately. This was the confidence of the primordial demon lord. With the sacred mountain of demons in hand, even if he was blasted to pieces, he could use the sacred mountain of demons to protect a wisp of his primordial spirit and return to the 100,000 demon mountains. At this time, the battle between Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation and the primordial demon lord seemed to be coming to an end. Ji Fei had cultivated all his life and had tried all kinds of great Daos. However, his most essential Dao was still martial Dao. It had never changed. Martial Dao was Ji Fei's strongest Dao. Therefore, his martial arts incarnation was naturally the strongest incarnation. Rumble. Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation descended from the sky, and the mighty martial arts power that emanated from his body caused the surrounding void to tremble violently. The void around him constantly cracked into pitch-black spatial cracks. It was as if he could shatter the sky and earth with just a wave of his hand. Don't think that you have won by destroying my demonic body. As long as the sacred mountain is not destroyed, I will not be destroyed. The primordial demon lord roared crazily. Since he started cultivating, he had never been as embarrassed as he was today, even during the Dark Ages. His demonic body was actually destroyed by a little guy. Is that so? Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation stood with his hands behind his back and looked indifferently at the primordial demon lord who was almost going crazy. Swish. The primordial demon lord did not waste any more words and directly rushed towards the sacred mountain of demons. You still want to use that move? The corner of Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation's mouth rose, revealing a cold smile. The next moment, his figure disappeared into the void. Boom. Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation appeared before the demon mountain. After that, he blasted out a punch onto the sacred mountain of demons, causing the entire sacred mountain of demons to be sent flying. The primordial demon lord's primordial spirit missed. The primordial demon lord's shock was no small matter. Didn't you say that as long as the devil mountain is not destroyed, you won't die? Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation said indifferently. Whoosh. The primordial spirit of the primordial demon lord turned into a beam of demonic light and chased after the sacred mountain of the demons that had been blasted away by Ji Fei's martial arts incarnation at an extremely fast speed. For an existence at the level of the primordial demon lord, if he wanted to escape, there were not many people who could stop him. However, the primordial demon lord was too confident. He did not know that Gu Fei's martial path incarnation had cultivated the heaven-treading steps and possessed the world's fastest speed. Gu Fei's martial path incarnation took a step forward and actually caught up with the primordial spirit of the primordial demon lord. Gu Fei's martial path incarnation used his right hand as a saber and slashed at the primordial spirit of the primordial demon lord. A dazzling saber light immediately rushed out from his hand and slashed the primordial spirit of the primordial demon lord into two. Without any suspense, the primordial spirit of the primordial demon lord dissipated in the void and died. Boom! At the moment when Gu Fei's martial path incarnation destroyed the primordial spirit of the primordial demon lord, the sacred mountain of demons suddenly erupted with a ball of demonic light. It directly broke through the void and rushed into the chaos. The sacred mountain of demons instantly disappeared from everyone's sight. Gu Fei's martial path incarnation was taken aback. When he wanted to make a move, it was already too late. Little guy, I will be back. A wave of divine will spread out from the shattered void. What? When Gu Fei's martial path incarnation sensed this wave of divine will, his eyes immediately became sharp. This primordial demon lord was not dead yet. Was the primordial spirit that he killed just a split of this guy's? With the cultivation of the primordial demon lord, it was not difficult for him to create a demigod. Some quasi-supreme existences had countless clones. The battle between Gu Fei's martial path incarnation and the primordial demon lord had finally ended. No one would have thought that the primordial demon lord would actually be defeated by Gu Fei's martial path. Moreover, it was a crushing defeat. All the existences who were watching the battle from afar were indescribably shocked. Even the East Sky Tyrant King's expression changed when he saw Gu Fei's martial path incarnation. Gu Fei's martial path incarnation took a step and instantly disappeared into the void. Its speed was extremely fast. At this time, in the demon race's ancestral land, Gu Fei was still refining the 10 absolute demon star. The vision was shocking. The experts gathered outside the demon clan's ancestral land were all stunned by the battle just now. Even the primordial demon lord was no match for Gu Fei's martial arts incarnation, let alone Gu Fei's real body. Gu Fei's true body is absolutely powerful. To an unimaginable extent. Everyone knew that once Gu Fei refined the 10 absolute devil star, his cultivation would become even stronger. At that time, it was hard to imagine how powerful Gu Fei would become. His cultivation would probably directly break through to the extreme grade. Some people outside the demon clan's ancestral land saw that the situation was not right and directly retreated. With Gu Fei around, even if all the forces surrounding the demon clan's ancestral land joined forces, they might not be a match for Gu Fei and Old Tortoise. Should they stay here and wait for death? Existences that could cultivate to the quasi-supremacy realm were all extremely shrewd fellows. Boom! At that moment, a loud noise came from the depths of the demon clan's ancestral land. In the next moment, 9 fire phoenixes rushed out from the depths of the demon clan's ancestral land. Endless flames erupted from the 9 phoenixes. Half of the sky was burned red. A giant cauldron slowly rose from the demon clan's ancestral land, emitting endless waves of fire elemental power. Everyone was shocked. Finally out of seclusion? Old Tortoise and Xiaoqing were both surprised and delighted. After 3 years, that person had finally come out of seclusion. The 9 phoenix illuminates the sky, like 9 divine suns, appeared in the sky above the demon clan's ancestral land. Terrifying and monstrous fire elemental power enveloped the entire demon clan's ancestral land. The entire sky seemed to be on fire. A figure was seen sitting cross-legged on the ancient cauldron. It was a woman in white, who also emitted powerful waves of fire elemental power. She seemed to have merged with the ancient cauldron. Be it in terms of power or aura, they were inseparable. One with the cauldron. Some of the old-timers said something like that. In fact, it was not rare for a person to become one with a Tao artifact. However, to achieve this, One must have complete control over the Tao artifact. In other words, the woman sitting cross-legged on the ancient cauldron had complete control over the ancient cauldron. The legendary 9 Phoenix Cauldron? Someone exclaimed. That's a Tao artifact from the primordial ancestral planet. Someone was in disbelief. Is she from the primordial ancestral planet? Or did she go to the primordial ancestral planet and come back? Many people speculated. Chapter 43:22. Jiyu Ling had finally come out of seclusion. Her appearance was earth-shattering. 9 phoenixes soared in the sky, burning half the sky red. It was as if 9 suns had appeared in the sky above the demon ancestral land. The 9 phoenixes emitted a fire elemental power that distorted the void. The terrifying heat spread out, making all the demons in the ancestral land feel like they were in a steamer. Some of them were sweating profusely, their clothes soaked. The heat that erupted from the 9 Death Divine Phoenix even penetrated the protective array of the demon clan's ancestral land. Even the experts outside the ancestral land could feel the heat. Who is this? Someone exclaimed. Haha, you don't even know who she is. You've fallen behind. Someone laughed. Is she famous? Is she some ancient? Some of the celestial realm's elders hadn't seen Jiyu Ling, but many knew of her existence. She's Jiyu Fei's daughter, Jiyu Ling. Some people watched with complicated expressions as the figure slowly rose from the ancestral land. Jiyu Ling sat cross-legged on top of the 9 Phoenix Cauldron, her entire body radiating fire elemental light. She was like a fairy of fire, elegant and otherworldly. Jiyu Fei's daughter? Those who didn't know Jiyu Ling couldn't help but be startled. Jiyu Fei had made a name for himself in the celestial realm in the past, beating countless heaven's prides into submission. Jiyu Fei was known as a peerless monster. Even those who didn't care about worldly affairs had heard of Jiyu Fei's name. So it's his daughter. Like father, like daughter, someone exclaimed. The energy ripples that erupted from Jiyu Ling's body were simply too strong. This was a female quasi-supreme being. The 9 phoenixes circled around Jiyu Ling as if worshipping the Phoenix Lord. This meant that Jiyu Ling had subdued the 9 Phoenix Cauldron. In the next moment, Jiyu Ling, who was sitting cross-legged on the 9 Phoenix Cauldron, suddenly opened her eyes. Then, the terrifying aura on her body began to recede like the tide. The 9 fire phoenixes flying around her also rushed towards the 9 Phoenix Cauldron at the same time and entered it. The 9 Phoenix Cauldron seemed to have a life of its own. Outside the ancestral land of the demon clan, all the experts who saw this scene were a little confused. Jiyu Ling waved her hand, and the 9 Phoenix Cauldron flew into the air. It quickly shrank and landed in her hand. The image of 9 fire phoenixes could be faintly seen on the body of the cauldron. Right now, Jiyu Ling was at the quasi-supreme realm. With the addition of the 9 Phoenix Cauldron, even in the heaven realm or the human realm, there weren't many experts that could match up to her. Congratulations, niece. Old Tortoise and Xiaoqing walked over. Father hasn't refined the 10 absolute demon star yet? Gulling looked at the figure shrouded in primordial chaos chi and demonic chi and couldn't help feeling shocked. The demonic aura emanating from the 10 extinction demon star was still extremely powerful. The demonic energy seemed endless. Congratulations, Xiaoqing said to Jiyu Ling. He was very envious. Jiyu Ling had already cultivated to the quasi-supreme realm, but he was still at the peak of the paragon realm. It was really difficult to take that step. Uncle Tortoise, Uncle Qing, Jiyu Ling looked at Old Tortoise and Xiaoqing with a smile. Not bad. Your cultivation seems to have improved a lot. Old Tortoise looked at Jiyu Ling and nodded. Jiyu Ling's improvement had exceeded everyone's expectations. One should know that it was absolutely difficult to improve further after reaching the quasi-supreme realm. Do you want to find someone to practice with? Xiaoqing looked at Jiyu Ling and said with a faint smile. Find someone to practice with? Jiyu Ling was a little stunned. There are so many people outside. Just find someone to practice with and see how much your cultivation and combat strength have improved. Xiaoqing continued. Those people outside. Jiyu Ling looked out of the ancestral land of the demon clan. She had long sensed that there were many powerful auras outside the ancestral land of the demon clan. She thought that they were experts invited by Old Tortoise. But now, it seemed that those people outside were here to cause trouble. Uncle Tortoise, you want me to help you get rid of those people outside? Ji Ling understood. Niece, don't misunderstand. I didn't mean that. Old Tortoise quickly shook his head. It's not a bad idea to find someone to practice with. Ji Ling nodded and said seriously. When the old ancestors outside the ancestral land of the demon clan heard the conversation between Ji Ling and Old Tortoise, they couldn't help but change their expressions. Some of them quickly retreated. Ji Fei's daughter was too abnormal. She also had the 9 Phoenix cauldron in her hand. No one wanted to face such an expert. Even if they won, Ji Ling still had Ji Fei behind her. That Ji Fei was a peerless savage. The consequences of hurting his daughter would definitely be dire. Moreover, if they lost, it would be a great humiliation. One should know that all the old ancestors present had cultivated for much longer than Ji Ling. They were all Ji Ling's seniors. If they were defeated by Ji Ling, it would definitely be extremely humiliating. Many old ancestors didn't want to humiliate themselves, so they chose to retreat. Outside the ancestral land of the demon clan, there were many fewer people. Even the Eastern Sky Tyrant King frowned. If you want to fight, then fight the strongest. Ji Ling's gaze swept across and directly fell on the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. Me. Feeling Ji Ling's fighting spirit, the Eastern Sky Tyrant King's fighting blood actually showed signs of boiling. That was the mutual reaction between experts. Ji Ling's fighting blood also showed signs of burning, and the Eastern Sky Tyrant King was a spark that ignited her fighting blood. You. Ji Ling smiled. The next moment, she directly took a step forward and instantly disappeared. When she reappeared, she was already opposite the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. How do you know that I'm the strongest existence here? The Eastern Sky Tyrant King laughed. Intuition. Ji Ling also laughed. The two great female quasi-supremes were confronting each other, but there was no earth-shattering momentum. However, it was precisely because of this that it was the most terrifying and the most dangerous. Outrageous, how can she be the strongest existence here? Some of the old antiques present were not convinced. Not bad, there are many people stronger than her. Some old antiques sneered. It seems that someone is very unhappy, Ji Ling said to the Eastern Sky Tyrant King with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. It's just some bugs crying out. The Eastern Sky Tyrant King said indifferently. She simply didn't put those so-called old ancestors of the heaven realm in her eyes. What, she actually called us bugs? Too much. Those old ancestors of the heaven realm were almost going crazy, but no one dared to make a move. They were all just talking, all talk and no action. They didn't want to stand out. The Eastern Sky Tyrant King didn't care about these guys at all. She only had eyes for Ji Ling. And Ji Ling only had eyes for the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. Hehe, do you think our niece can defeat the Eastern Sky Tyrant King and that woman? Chapter 43-23. Ji Ling successfully refined the 9 Phoenix cauldron, and her cultivation greatly increased, which made the old tortoise and Xiaoqing pleasantly surprised. She wanted to find someone to practice with, so she directly looked for the Eastern Sky Tyrant. The Eastern Sky Tyrant was one of the strongest in the human realm, but in the heaven realm, she was also one of the strongest. There were not many people in the entire heaven realm who could suppress her. And none of the old ancestors in the heaven realm who were present was a match for the Eastern Sky Tyrant. If they wanted to fight, they would fight the strongest one. Ji Ling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant were confronting each other. There was no powerful aura, no astonishing power fluctuations, everything was calm, but the murderous intent was undulating. Between the two, as long as one side was a little careless, they would suffer a fatal blow from the other. Ji Ling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant did not want to kill each other, but at their level of cultivation, if they did not use their full strength, it would be looking down on the other side. They had been standing there for several hours. When are they going to fight? Just standing like this, I'm going to faint. TSK, you want momentum, you want strength, You want strength, you want the strongest one? The old antiques in the heaven realm were muttering, all very disdainful. Ayo, our niece's realm really went up. The old tortoise nodded. This kind of returning to the natural state was not something an ordinary old ancestor could have. Not revealing the mountain and not revealing the water, without a trace of murderous intent, but it was the most powerful murderous intent. These two people did not move, but once they did, it was earth-shattering. Not bad. Xiaoqing nodded. This natural Tao law was also a great inspiration to him. He was only half a step away from reaching the heavens in one step. If he could comprehend it, he might be able to take that half step. Everyone stared nervously at the two peerless beauties. Boom. In the next moment, the eastern sky tyrant suddenly moved. The next moment, the void around her was like a transparent ice cube, instantly shattering. An immortal sword light, directly pierced towards the opposite Jiyu Ling. The speed of the eastern sky tyrant's sword was extremely fast, instantly piercing in front of Jiyu Ling's eyebrows. Even though the sword had yet to truly stab into Gulling, a drop of blood had already seeped out from the center of his brows. The sword chi had pierced through his skin. The person was the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor, and the sword was the human sovereign sword. If he was stabbed, even Jiyu Fei would suffer a great impact. If Jiyu Ling was stabbed, his life would be in danger. Everyone was shocked by this sword of the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor. Apart from the old tortoise, none of the patriarchs present would be able to dodge the peerless sword. Just as the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's sword was about to pierce Jiyu Ling's forehead, she suddenly smiled. In the next moment, her forehead split open, and a fire phoenix actually rushed out from it. Clang! With a metallic clang, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's sword pierced the fire phoenix. The fire phoenix dissipated, and a fist-sized divine cauldron appeared. Buzz! The divine cauldron trembled, instantly becoming as huge as a small mountain, and directly smashed towards the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. At the same time, 9 fire phoenixes rushed out from the body of the cauldron. The divine fire that erupted from the 9 fire phoenixes instantly enveloped the entire void. This was the true fire of the 9 heavens divine phoenix, and it burned the void until it was annihilated. Little girl, you are very cunning, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor said as he held the sword with both hands, and directly slashed towards the 9 phoenix cauldron. At this time, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor had already understood. This Jiyu Ling was deliberately luring him to attack. Clang! The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's sword fiercely struck the 9 phoenix cauldron, and the entire 9 phoenix cauldron shook violently. Countless ancient Tao patterns emerged on the 9 phoenix cauldron, interweaving into ancient Tao diagrams. The powerful sword Wei power directly shook the 9 phoenix cauldron and sent it flying to the side. At this moment, a fist suddenly broke through the layers of divine fire and smashed towards the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor held the sword in his hand horizontally, blocking in front of him. Dang! Jiyu Ling's fist smashed onto the sword. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor only felt a strong force coming from the sword, and the sword was actually bent by this punch, directly hitting the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's body. What a strong force! The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor was taken aback. She directly borrowed the strength of the opponent's fist to float backwards. Cauldron, come! Jiyu Ling waved her hand, and the 9 phoenix cauldron directly flew back to her. It quickly shrunk and landed in her hand. 9 phoenix sword. Jiyu Ling shook the 9 phoenix cauldron in her hand, and in the next moment, a shocking sword chi immediately erupted from the 9 phoenix cauldron. 9 fire phoenixes turned into 9 immortal sword lights, piercing towards the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor who was flying backwards. The sword chi was vast and mighty, and the sword lights filled the sky. The power of this 9 phoenix sword could not be underestimated. This 9 phoenix sword was a powerful sword Wei divine ability, and the cultivation method of this divine ability was on the 9 phoenix cauldron. As long as one became the master of the 9 phoenix cauldron, they would naturally obtain this divine ability. Ha ha, playing with swords in front of me? The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor laughed, and her smile was very bright. She cultivated sword Wei, and in terms of sword Wei cultivation, she was not weaker than others. The sword in the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's hand made a circle, and an arc-shaped sword wave immediately rushed out from his hand, directly destroying the 9 sword lights that pierced through. Breaking the heavens' momentum, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor roared, and the divine sword in her hand turned into an immortal sword light, directly breaking through the void of heaven and earth, and in an instant, it was in front of Ji Ling. The sword force of this sword was extremely strong, and it pressed forward, as if the world was split in half by this sword. 8 Desolation's step. Ji Ling moved his feet, and the extremely sharp sword light brushed past his clothes and slashed towards him. One hand transforming heaven. After dodging the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's sword with the heaven treading step, Ji Ling immediately displayed the heaven transforming hand, and the powerful heaven transforming force surged out from his hand. Everyone who was enveloped by the heaven transforming force could not escape the fate of death. This is, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor slashed out with his sword, and that sword light actually disappeared in the void, turned into nothingness by the mighty heaven transforming force. Shua. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor quickly retreated. However, Ji Ling's palm followed him like a shadow, and actually still slapped towards the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor. Interesting. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's face became a little dignified, and he retreated again. She actually forced the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor to retreat. Our eldest niece is really powerful. The old tortoise sighed. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor was one of the strongest in the human realm. Whether it was the heaven realm or the human realm, the number of people who could force her to retreat could be counted on one hand. At such a young age, it's really not easy to cultivate to this level. Xiaoqing looked at Ji Ling and said, "All right, the warm-up is over, let's have a good fight." The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor stood with her sword, staring at Ji Ling, and a shocking murderous aura erupted from her body. "All right, then let's have a good fight." Chapter 43-24. Whether it was the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor or Ji Ling, they were the most powerful female quasi-supremes in the world. In this world, there weren't many female quasi-supremes. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor came from the human world, and Ji Ling was actually a female quasi-supremes of the human world. At this time, the 2 female quasi-supremes were fighting outside the Demon Clan's ancestral land. The 2 female experts were only exchanging pointers, but at their level of cultivation, even if it was just exchanging pointers, it would be extremely dangerous. At this time, the 2 female quasi-supremes burst out with their strongest battle intent. "Let's fight." The 2 female quasi-supremes roared at the same time. Ji Ling took a step forward, and her speed suddenly soared. Her figure was almost invisible in the void. Even the existence of quasi-supremes could only catch a glimpse of Ji Ling's faint figure at this time. And below the quasi-supremes, even the existence of the peak Saint Venerable, it was already difficult to catch Ji Ling's figure. At this time, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's whole body was shining with sword light. She seemed to have turned into a heavenly sword, piercing towards Ji Ling, sword chi sweeping the sky and earth. Pitch-black spatial cracks appeared around her without a sound. "Martial breaks all laws." Gulling bellowed and threw out a punch. Clang. The sword light collided with the fist, making the sound of metal colliding. Ji Ling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's body shook, and then flew back at the same time. Ji Ling looked down and saw that on her fist, there was actually a faint trace of blood, but there was no blood seeping from this trace. Good fellow, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor was shocked. This Ji Ling actually used her flesh and blood to block his peerless sword. Could it be that her martial body was actually stronger than a quasi-supreme Dao weapon? At this time, Ji Ling punched, and an invincible fist intent burst out from her body. Hair! Seeing this, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's pupils involuntarily shrank. This Ji Ling started her cultivation late, but she actually cultivated to this level, it was really too abnormal. One sword breaks the heavens. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor no longer reserved his strength, and directly displayed his most proud sword Dao divine ability. An immortal sword light rushed out from the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's hand. Wherever the sword light passed, heaven and earth, the void was directly cut apart, and the indestructible sword light seemed to be able to cut through everything. This sword, pressed forward with indomitable will. Good timing. When Jiyu Ling saw the Eastern Sky Tyrant King's sword, his eyes immediately lit up. Then, he punched out to meet the peerless sword light. A layer of flames surged on her fist. Within the flames, there were dense Tao patterns faintly visible and intertwined, emitting a vast aura of the great Tao. Clang! Jiyu Ling's fist once again collided with the sword light unleashed by the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor. The sword light was directly shattered by her fist, and her fist directly smashed towards the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's head. What a powerful fist technique! The Eastern Sky Tyrant King was shocked, and hurriedly retreated. However, Jiyu Ling's fist followed her like a shadow and continued to smash towards her head. She couldn't dodge it at all. Damn it! The Eastern Sky Tyrant Monarch's figure blurred, and in the next moment, she actually split into three, and the three figures rushed out in different directions. Seeing this, Jiyu Ling was taken aback. Did this guy also cultivate the Three Pure Ones secret technique? However, Jiyu Ling soon sensed that this secret technique wasn't one of the 9 secrets of the Immortal Path, but another kind of divine ability that was somewhat similar to the Three Pure Ones secret technique. Among the 3 figures that the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor transformed into, one of them was the real body, but no one knew which one was her real body. Bam! At this moment, Jiyu Ling's fist landed, and one of the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's clones immediately exploded. Not the real body. Jiyu Ling was stunned. In the instant that Jiyu Ling exploded one of the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's clones, the 2 figures of the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor had already attacked Jiyu Ling Buzz. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's Grand Orient Sword was unsheathed, and the Grand Orient Sword turned into a sword light that instantly slashed in front of Jiyu Ling. What a fast sword, but it's a pity that I have the world's fastest speed. Jiyu Ling moved her feet, and directly left behind a series of after-images in the void. Her speed was extremely fast. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's sword had only slashed a few after-images that she left in the void. Fist breaks the limit, palm transforms the heavens. Jiyu Ling directly displayed the unique skill that Jiyu Fei had created. She could be seen multitasking, and her right fist directly blasted out towards one of the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's clones. It directly forced the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's clones to retreat thousands of miles. At the same time, Jiyu Ling's left palm collided with another of the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's clones. In the next moment, the power of heaven transforms in Jiyu Ling's palm exploded, and the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's clones instantly became faint and illusory. In the end, it completely disappeared, and was forcibly dissolved. What? The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor couldn't help but be moved. His 2 clones both had the strength of a quasi-supreme, but they were actually so easily defeated by Jiyu Ling. Even Old Tortoise, who was watching the battle from the side, was somewhat surprised. One must know that the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor wasn't an ordinary quasi-supreme. Even if he were to face the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor, he might not necessarily be able to defeat her. Is that a martial skill that Big Brother created? Xiaoqing's eyes flickered with a strange light. This martial skill seems to have already surpassed the extreme path. Old Tortoise's expression was solemn. With Old Tortoise's experience, he could tell at a glance that the martial skill displayed by Jiyu Ling was powerful and terrifying. What? Hearing this, Xiaoqing couldn't help but be indescribably shocked. Surpassed the extreme path? What kind of realm was that? This was the first time he heard that there was a higher cultivation realm above the extreme path. Naturally, Xiaoqing's experience was far from the Old Tortoise's. One must know that this Old Tortoise was a descendant of the Tai Huang, and had seen many great mysteries of heaven and earth, and had experienced countless trials and hardships. The Tai Huang had once told him that the extreme path was not the end, and that there might be even higher realms above the extreme path. Of course, even the Tai Huang had never broken through the extreme path and stepped into a higher realm. Just as Old Tortoise and Xiaoqing were talking, there was a change in the battle between Jiyu Ling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's clones were destroyed, and it had a great impact on the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor. Her body could only be seen trembling, and she almost fell from the sky. Bang! Jiyu Ling's fist smashed down, and the entire sky shook. The stars in the sky were all exploding, and the terror was monstrous. Under this punch, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor was directly sent flying thousands of miles away, crashing into the starry sky. Wherever he dodged, the big stars in his way were constantly destroyed. Seeing this scene, everyone was taken aback. Even the peerless powerhouse of the human realm, the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor, was not a match for Ji Yufei's daughter. How is this possible? How long has it been since she made her debut? How could she have such a powerful cultivation and battle prowess? The old-timers from the heavenly world almost couldn't believe their eyes. They had practiced cultivation for countless years to reach their current level of cultivation base. Some of them had even lived 2 lifetimes, or even 3 lifetimes, to reach their current level of power. But how long had Ji Yuling cultivated? 300 years. 3,000 years. To these old antiques of the heaven realm, hundreds or even thousands of years were nothing more than the snap of a finger. Just a casual closed-door cultivation of theirs would be calculated in tens of thousands of years. When some old antiques sat in a life-or-death closed-door cultivation, they would sit for tens of thousands of years, or even hundreds of thousands of years. Even the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor was also an old antique who had dominated the ancient world and lived to the present. He was peerless and powerful, and had even fought all the people in the eastern region of the human realm without a rival. But now, Ji Yuling actually sent the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor flying with a punch. Just when everyone was still in shock, Ji Yuling used the heaven trampling steps and took a step forward, directly soaring into the sky, entering the starry sky and catching up to the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor. Damn it! The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor roared, and a ray of resplendent sword light immediately rushed out of her body. As soon as this sword light appeared, the whole world trembled, and a terrifying aura that changed the color of the heavens erupted from this sword light. Sensing the extreme danger, Ji Yulingji stopped immediately. The Eastern Emperor sword, she is finally going to use this sword. Old Tortoise said. The battle between Ji Yuling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor was just a warm-up. During the warm-up, they both put away their respective Dao weapons. Now, Ji Yuling had forced the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor to use her strongest power, which was also one of her trump cards. Whoosh! The sword light that rushed out from the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor's body made a turn in the void and directly slashed at Ji Yuling. The sword light soared for thousands of miles, as if it wanted to split the entire starry sky in half. With a sweep of the sword light, more than a dozen stars directly exploded. The Eastern Emperor sword was an extreme path sword. Even if the weapon spirit was in a deep sleep, it could still erupt with power close to the extreme path. The sword light descended from the sky, and Ji Yuling did not even think about it and directly took a step to the side. The sword light brushed past her clothes and slashed down. The sword light formed by the Eastern Emperor sword made a turn in the air and once again slashed at Ji Yuling. The cold sword chi spread out, directly enveloping half of the starry sky. Ji Yuling took another step forward and narrowly avoided the sword light that was coming at him. At this moment, Ji Yuling's forehead was sweating. She was almost cut by the sword light. If she were to be cut by the sword light, it would not be a joke. The sword light formed by the Eastern Emperor sword had already locked onto Ji Yuling. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor sat in the void and used all her strength to activate the Eastern Emperor sword. Her forehead was also sweating. Using the Eastern Emperor sword consumed a large amount of Yuan Qi. Even someone as strong as the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor could not use it for a long time. She had to defeat Ji Yuling in a limited time. Ji Yuling also could not use the heaven trampling steps all the time. It must be known that using the heaven trampling steps also consumed a large amount of Yuan Qi. She also had to defeat the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor in a limited time. This way, there would be a good show to watch. Boom! A fire cauldron rushed out from Ji Yuling's body and directly collided with the sword light. Boom! The fire cauldron and the sword light collided in an instant, causing an earth-shaking explosion. A terrifying energy storm swept out in all directions, and countless stars directly exploded and turned into dust. Chapter 43-25. Ji Yuling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor finally got serious. The 2 female quasi-sovereigns went all out. Buzz! A fire cauldron rushed out of the energy storm, and a powerful devouring force came out of it. In the next moment, countless stars flew over from all directions and were directly sucked into the fire cauldron. A figure surrounded by sword light was also pulled towards the fire cauldron by the devouring force. The fire cauldron was like a burning volcano, and the mouth of the cauldron was the mouth of the volcano. Inside the mouth of the cauldron was a terrifying fire cave. Anything that was devoured would be burned into nothingness by the divine fire, not even ashes would be found. Just as the sword-like figure was about to be devoured by the fire cauldron, the sword light suddenly erupted with an unprecedentedly powerful ripple of sword chi. Clang! The sword light slashed horizontally and directly struck the mouth of the fire cauldron. In the next moment, the huge fire cauldron was directly sent flying. Endless divine fire erupted, and the stars were directly burned to ashes. A figure walked out of the endless flames. With a wave of her hand, the huge fire cauldron that had erupted with endless divine fire quickly shrunk and flew back into her hand. Then, the divine fire that covered a small part of the starry sky retreated like a tide, completely submerging into the fist-sized fire cauldron in the white-clothed woman's hand. This white-clothed woman was like a spirit of fire. She was Ji Yufei's daughter. Ji Yuling had the fire martial body and was naturally close to the power of fire. With the 9-phoenix cauldron in her hand and her white clothes fluttering, she was simply like the legendary peerless empress that had descended. Good. You're worthy of being Ji Yufei's daughter. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor had no choice but to be convinced. If not for the Grand Orient sword protecting him, he was afraid that he would have long been defeated by this little girl. You're not bad either. Ji Yuling held the 9-phoenix cauldron in her hand and indifferently looked at the Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor opposite her. Then let's continue. The Eastern Sky Tyrant Emperor also wanted to know how strong Ji Yuling was. Very good. Ji Yuling nodded. Overlord Sword. The East Sky Tyrant Monarch waved her right hand, and the Grand Orient sword immediately appeared in front of her. She stretched out her hand and lightly flicked the Grand Orient sword. The Grand Orient sword immediately turned into a sword light, piercing towards Ji Yuling. Although it was just a light flick, the Eastern Sky Tyrant King displayed a kind of imposing manner that looked down on the whole world. The 9-phoenix cauldron in Gulling's hand flew up. Clang! The Grand Orient sword stabbed into the 9-phoenix cauldron, sending the 2 Dao artifacts flying. Bam! In the next moment, the 2 fists collided. The 2 figures moved rapidly in the starry sky like 2 ancient divine mountains. They kept colliding with each other, causing loud explosions. Black holes appeared in the void. That is, the old ancestors watching from the distance were all indescribably shocked. These 2 great female half-supreme beings were too ferocious, actually fighting endlessly in close combat. Their physical strength was powerful to the extreme. Ji Yuling cultivated the martial Dao, so his martial body was naturally tyrannical to the extreme. As for the Eastern Sky Tyrant King, he cultivated the tyrant body, so he was similarly incomparably powerful. However, was the martial body stronger, or was the overlord body stronger? Boom! Bam! The 2 great female half-supreme beings directly smashed the stars with a raise of their hands and feet, shattering the void. They were evenly matched in the battle. Cauldron, come! Ji Yuling waved her right hand, and the 9-phoenix cauldron flew into her hand. Kill! Without any hesitation, Ji Yuling waved her right hand, and the 9-phoenix cauldron shot towards the Eastern Sky Tyrant King. The Eastern Sky Tyrant King directly punched the 9-phoenix cauldron, and in the next moment, she was directly sent flying by a burst of power from the 9-phoenix cauldron. Rumble! The Eastern Sky Tyrant King directly smashed into a starfield, and in the next moment, the stars in this starfield all exploded, turning into a terrifying storm. The Eastern Sky Tyrant King directly walked out of the destructive storm step by step, only to see a sword light circling around her body. The sword light emitted the power of the sword Dao, completely blocking the surrounding destructive storm. Sword, come! The Eastern Sky Tyrant King stretched out her right hand, grabbed the air, and the sword light immediately fell into her hand. Roar! The Eastern Sky Tyrant King's entire body was vast and mighty, and with both hands holding the sword, she used all her strength to slash at Ji Yuling. A sword cry shook the 9 heavens, and the sword light rushed thousands of miles, like the Milky Way falling from the 9 heavens. In an instant, it slashed at the top of Jiyu Ling's head, the sword Qi vast and mighty for hundreds of thousands of miles. With this sword, countless stars collapsed, and the void of heaven and earth trembled. Seeing this, Jiyu Ling's expression was incomparably grave. The opponent had already locked onto her, and this sword was unavoidable. She could only block it with all her strength. Without any suspense, Jiyu Ling was directly sent flying by the Eastern Sky Tyrant King's tyrannical sword. Boom! Jiyu Ling, along with the cauldron, smashed into the starry sky thousands of miles away. In the next moment, the entire starry sky exploded, and countless stars directly collapsed, turning into a terrifying destructive storm. However, Jiyu Ling very quickly rushed out of the destructive storm, her whole body in flames, and within the flames, faint traces of Dao patterns were faintly discernible. These fellows, the old antiques watching the battle from afar, were stunned by this scene. The battle prowess of these two great female supremes was truly terrifying. If it were anyone else, they would have long since been blasted into dregs. These old antiques had to admit that Jiyu Ling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant King were really much stronger than they were. Just as Jiyu Ling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant King were fighting, in the demon race's ancestral land, Jiyu Fei, who was refining the 10 absolute devil star, suddenly opened his eyes. In the next moment, a demonic light rushed over from afar, directly piercing through the demon race's ancestral land's protective array, and falling down on Jiyu Fei's head. Within the demonic light, a battle spear was faintly discernible, emitting a terrifying demonic aura. Compete. Jiyu Fei stretched out his right hand, directly grabbing the demonic light falling from the sky, and then exerted force. With a bang, the demonic light directly exploded. Within the demonic light, the demonic spear also collapsed into thousands of pieces. Seeing this scene, the old antiques outside were once again shocked. Breaking a Dao artifact with his bare hands, this Jiyu Fei was simply a terrifying Dao artifact in human form. What's going on? The old tortoise fiercely shot up into the sky, sweeping his divine eyes around to comprehend. Come out for me. The old tortoise suddenly stared at a certain part of the void, roared, and directly grabbed forward with his right hand. That part of the void immediately collapsed, and he forcibly pulled out a black shadow. How dare you sneak attack my brother in my territory? Go to hell! The old tortoise threw a punch high up in the air. Bam! The black shadow was directly blasted into a cloud of blood mist by the old tortoise's punch, directly destroyed in body and soul. Chapter 43:26. The fact that someone had sneak-attacked Jiyu Fei infuriated the old turtle. Anyone who dares to attack my brother will die. Old Tortoise blasted the sneak attacker into pieces with a single punch. Outside the demon race's ancestral land, the old-timers who had wanted to deal with the old turtle shivered. Some of them even quietly retreated. The old turtle's cultivation base had grown a lot stronger. The old-timers from the heavenly world who had a grudge against the old turtle had wanted to suppress the descendant of the Grand Emperor. Therefore, they had joined forces to surround the demon race's ancestral land. But now, it seemed that no one in the heavenly world could suppress the descendant of the Grand Emperor. Demons again, Xiaoqing said angrily. It seems that the 100,000 Devil Mountains shouldn't exist anymore. Old Tortoise narrowed its eyes, and rays of light shot out from its eyes. This guy wants to destroy the 100,000 Devil Mountains? The ancestors from the heavenly world were shocked to hear the old turtle's words. The 100,000 Devil Mountains had existed for countless years. If it could be destroyed, the 100,000 Devil Mountains would have long since ceased to exist. Since ancient times, no one had ever been able to destroy the 100,000 Devil Mountains. The old turtle's words were very suspicious. No matter how strong he was, it was impossible for him to destroy the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Unless... The old-timers from the heavenly world glanced at Jiyu Fei in the distance. At this time, Jiyu Fei closed his eyes and sat cross-legged again, continuing to operate his profound art to refine the 10 extinction Devil Star. Endless Devil Dao energy poured down from the star and was refined and devoured by him. Jiyu Fei's martial body was like a bottomless pit. After devouring devil energy for so long, it was still bottomless and couldn't be filled. In fact, Ji Yufei had been forced into reincarnation by the first devil ancestor, and his cultivation base had been shaved away. But he still had a clear understanding of all the realms of cultivation. All he had to do was cultivate from the beginning again. As long as he had enough power, his cultivation base would continue to break through. He didn't need to worry about his state of mind or inner demons. All he needed to do was advance triumphantly. The devil Tao energy contained in the 10 extinction devil star was too vast. If he could refine and devour it all, Ji Yufei would at least be able to return to the extreme Tao realm, and perhaps even the half-step eternal realm. As for the eternal realm, there was no need to think about it. Because the eternal realm required too much power. Moreover, if one wanted to restore the eternal realm cultivation, it wasn't just about having enough power. Ji Yufei planned to restore his cultivation to the extreme grade first. As long as he didn't reach the extreme Tao, he wouldn't return to the primogenitor's realm. It had to be known that even a quasi-supreme was trash in the primogenitor's realm. If they encountered an extreme Tao supreme, they would be killed with a single slap. Even if Ji Yufei had the eternal real bone, it would not be enough. An extreme Tao sovereign would be able to discover that his eternal true bone was different from the others. Once he returned to the primogenitor world and was targeted by an extreme Tao sovereign, he would be in danger of having his eternal true bone dug out. Once the eternal true bone was dug out, Ji Yufei would truly be crippled. Therefore, Ji Yufei could only return to the primogenitor realm after recovering his extreme grade cultivation. The extreme mysterious realm didn't seem to have any heavenly punishment powers. This was an opportunity for Ji Yufei. Not all the great realms of heaven and earth had the power of heavenly punishment. Only a few great realms of heaven and earth had the power of heavenly punishment. Since the extreme mysterious realm could produce extreme Tao supremes, it was naturally a perfect great realm. If Ji Yufei wanted to recover his extreme grade cultivation, he naturally had to go to a great realm without heavenly punishment powers. Little girl, you are still too inexperienced. At that moment, a loud shout came from the starry sky. Then, a figure fell from the starry sky towards the heavenly realm. That figure emitted a monstrous divine flame like a divine sun falling from the sky. Ling was defeated. Xiaoqing raised his head abruptly. Tyrannical Emperor sky-splitting power. In the starry sky, an extremely huge figure tore the sky apart and smashed the heaven and earth. Then, it sent a palm strike towards the falling Ji Yuling. Damn it. Ji Yuling was both shocked and furious. She gritted her teeth and went all out. Roar. With a furious roar, her entire body suddenly transformed into a divine phoenix. Boom. The divine phoenix spread its wings, and boundless divine flames burst out, engulfing the heavens and the earth. The void that was enveloped by the divine flames was incinerated. The divine phoenix that Ji Yuling had transformed into was also extremely huge. The divine phoenix flapped its wings and soared into the sky, directly colliding with the huge palm that was descending from the sky. Boom! A blinding light flashed, followed by an earth-shattering sound. The divine phoenix, which was many times larger than a mountain, collided with the huge palm. The two extremely powerful forces exploded with unprecedented fluctuations. Thunder rumbled from the depths of the sky, and the power of heavenly punishment seemed to be triggered. This was the bottom line. Once this bottom line was crossed, the power of heavenly punishment would erupt. That was no laughing matter. However, the power of heavenly punishment did not descend. Both Ji Yuling and the East Sky Tyrant Emperor carefully controlled their respective powers and did not step on the red line. Rumble, the heavens and the earth seemed to be on the verge of destruction. In the starry sky, the stars were constantly collapsing. The earth was undulating, and deep cracks appeared. Everyone was stunned by this scene. At this time, even the old tortoise was moved. The incomparably huge figure in the starry sky was dissipating, and the divine phoenix that Ji Yuling had transformed into also turned into monstrous divine flames. A figure descended from the sky. Her beautiful hair was messy, her white clothes were stained with blood, and the ancient cauldron in her hand was dim. She was Ji Yufei's daughter, Ji Yuling. There was a trace of blood at the corner of Jiu Ling's mouth, but her eyes were as bright as the stars in the sky. Who won? This was the matter that all the ancestors who were watching the battle were most concerned about. However, just now, no one, including the old tortoise, clearly saw who won and who lost. Everyone was waiting for the East Sky Tyrant Emperor to appear. However, the East Sky Tyrant Emperor did not appear. It was as if she had disappeared. However, everyone knew that although Jiu Ling was powerful, she was not powerful enough to kill the East Sky Tyrant Emperor. The East Sky Tyrant Emperor left, and no one knew how she left. It seemed that apart from the people involved, no one knew the result of this battle. Soon, Jiu Ling was brought into the demon clan's ancestral land by the old tortoise and Xiaoqing. At this time, all the ancestors were extremely curious about who won and who lost in this battle. However, it seemed that the outcome of this battle had become a mystery. Because Jiu Ling did not say, she did not tell the old tortoise and Xiaoqing. As soon as she returned to the demon clan's ancestral land, she immediately went into seclusion. She had benefited a lot from this battle with the East Sky Tyrant Emperor. She needed to go into seclusion to comprehend. Human realm, Eastern region. A figure appeared in the Dongfang family's ancestral land. Ancestor is back. Two half-ancestor level existences from the Dongfang family came out to welcome her. Chapter 43-27. The battle between Jiu Ling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant King shook both the heavens and the earth. However, no one knew the outcome of the battle except for the people involved. This aroused the curiosity of countless people. Even the old tortoise's gossipy heart was burning. He really wanted to know the outcome of the battle. Who would win and who would lose this battle? However, Jiu Ling did not say anything. After returning to the demon race's ancestral land, he went into seclusion. This almost drove the old tortoise and Xiaoqing crazy. Jiu Ling went into seclusion. In the eastern region of the mortal realm, the Eastern Sky Tyrant King returned to the Dongfang family's ancestral land. She was in a sorry state, but she was not as shabby as Jiu Ling. Everyone who was paying attention to the outcome of the battle thought that news would come from the Dongfang family. However, the Eastern Sky Tyrant King did not say anything. She went straight to the Dongfang family's ancestral land and went into seclusion. The Eastern Sky Tyrant King also had some enlightenment during the battle with Jiu Ling, so he went into seclusion immediately. As Jiu Ling and the Eastern Sky Tyrant King went into seclusion, countless people thought that the cultivation world could finally rest for a while. However, at this time, the old tortoise wanted to conquer the 100,000 Devil Mountains. The fellows surrounding the demon clan's ancestral land collapsed without being attacked, and they all retreated. And the old tortoise was not someone who could be easily bullied. He began to calculate. The first unlucky one was the 100,000 Devil Mountains, because an ancestor of the 100,000 Devil Mountains was defeated and fled back to the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Among them was the Primordial Demon Lord. The Primordial Demon Lord was one of the strongest demon lords in the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Other than the undead Demon Lord, he was the most powerful and terrifying. However, such a powerful demon lord had been directly defeated by Jiu Fei's martial arts incarnation. Even the demon clan's sacred mountain had been destroyed. The primordial demon lord's demon body was destroyed, leaving only a primordial spirit to escape. The primordial demon lord was lucky to have cultivated more than one primordial spirit. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for him to escape back to the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Even if his primordial spirit escaped back to the 100,000 Devil Mountains, it would not be easy to restore his cultivation. It would take a long time. Damn it. The roar of the primordial demon lord came from the primordial demon palace in the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Ha ha. Primordial beginning, I didn't expect you to have such a day. A loud laughter resounded, and a demonic shadow appeared outside the primordial demon palace. Who are you? More than a dozen powerful demonic shadows instantly rushed out of the Primeval Demon Palace and stared at the demonic shadow in the sky. Scram! With a wave of his right hand, the dozen or so demon race experts that rushed out of the Primordial Demon Palace were sent flying, spitting out blood from their mouths. Yes, Lord Undead Demon Lord. The group of demons finally knew who the intruder was. All of them knelt on the ground, trembling in fear. Some of them even laid on the ground, trembling in fear. Demons, the law of the jungle to the extreme. In the 100,000 Devil Mountains, the weak only had absolute obedience to the strong. The life and death of the weak were in the hands of the strong. If the strong wanted the weak to live, then the weak couldn't die. In the eyes of the Undead Demon Lord, the subordinates of the Primordial Demon Lord were just ants. Undead, what do you mean by this? A wave of divine sense spread out from the Primordial Demon Palace. Nothing, just that your place is not bad, I want it. Take your trash and scram, the Undead Demon Lord said indifferently. What? The Primordial Demon Lord was immediately angered. What, you don't want to leave? The Undead Demon Lord said coldly. The Primordial Demon Palace became silent. The Primordial Demon Lord did not answer. His subordinates were even more shocked. The Undead Demon Lord's behavior was too ugly. Although the Primordial Demon Lord was defeated by Gu Fei's martial arts incarnation, he did not really die. You win. After a while, the Primordial Demon Lord had to accept the reality. In fact, the Undead Demon Lord did not take advantage of the Primordial Demon Lord's injuries to kill him. The Primordial Demon Lord was already thanking the gods. After chasing away the Primordial Demon Lord, the Undead Demon Lord finally unified the 100,000 Demon Mountains and became the master of the 100,000 Demon Mountains, the supreme ruler of billions of demons. This time, he chased away the Primordial Demon Lord effortlessly, giving the Undead Demon Lord a great advantage. However, the Undead Demon Lord was only happy for a few days when news came that the descendant of the Tai Huang was going to attack the 100,000 Demon Mountains. Preposterous. The Undead Demon Lord was shocked and angry. At this time, the old tortoise had already begun to gather troops. All the forces that were on good terms with the demon race had sent their armies to participate in the demon hunting conference. The demon race was the public enemy of the world. The old tortoise stepped forward and sent out invitations to summon countless forces from the heavenly realm and the mortal world to form the demon hunting coalition army. In an instant, the heavenly realm and the mortal world all responded. Even the forces that had enmity with the demon race had sent their men. For a moment, the outside of the demon race's ancestral land was bustling with noise and excitement. The old tortoise even organized a pledge rally before leading the coalition army to attack the 100,000 Demon Mountains. Boom, boom, boom. An incomparably shocking sound came from the 100,000 Demon Mountains. The war between the demons and celestials erupted. Countless demonic thunderbolts blasted out from the 100,000 Demon Mountains. The demon hunting army was attacked as soon as they got close to the 100,000 Demon Mountains. Balls of pitch-black demonic thunderbolts descended from the sky towards the demon hunting army. Each ball of demonic thunderbolts emitted a terrifying aura of destruction. Defend. An angry roar came from the demon hunting army. In the next moment, a ball of divine light emerged and the demonic thunderbolts that descended from the sky directly landed on the divine light. The demonic thunderbolts exploded and released the strongest destructive power. The layer of divine light that enveloped the demon hunting army shook violently. Let me take on these demon bastards. An old voice sounded. An old man led thousands of white-robed swordsmen out. This was the Clear Sky Sword faction of the heavenly realm. The old man was the current faction master of the Clear Sky Sword faction. He was a quasi-supreme and pitilessly powerful. These thousands of swordsmen were the strongest sword cultivators of the Clear Sky Sword faction. They formed a sword formation that could fight against peak quasi-supreme existences. Haha, then let's watch faction master Clear Sky's performance. The old tortoise laughed and said, Your Highness is too polite. The faction master nodded at the old tortoise. Boom. The sword formation formed by the Clear Sky Sword faction erupted. Thousands of swordsmen emitted dazzling sword rays at the same time. Countless sword rays gathered together and turned into a huge peerless sword ray. Swoosh. Chapter 43-28. The Haotian sword faction was an upper-middle force in the heaven realm, not a first-rate force. However, The Haotian faction master of the Haotian sword faction was a quasi-supreme, and the sword formation of the Haotian sword faction was unique. Although there were only thousands of swordsmen in the sword formation, its power was not to be underestimated. The terrifying sword ray formed by the sword formation of the Haotian sword faction slashed into the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Wherever the sword ray passed, the mountains were turned into dust. Countless demonic creatures were killed in body and soul by this one sword strike. Rumble, at this moment, a demonic hand larger than a mountain slapped out from the depths of the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Boom! The demonic hand blocked the peerless sword ray. The next moment, the peerless sword ray dissipated, and thousands of figures appeared in the void. The Haotian faction master roared. The Haotian sword formation once again erupted with the strongest power of the sword, and the demonic hand finally dissipated in the void. The Haotian faction master wiped his cold sweat. The demons in the 100,000 Devil Mountains were indeed powerful. He made a prompt decision and led the thousands of swordsmen to retreat. However, at this moment, a demonic cauldron descended from the sky and slammed into the Haotian sword formation. The violent power of the demonic path spread out, and the entire world seemed like it was going to explode. Sword and shield, rise! The Haotian faction master roared. The next moment, a sword wave emerged from the sword formation and enveloped the thousands of swordsmen. Boom! The demonic cauldron slammed into the sword formation's sword shield, and the entire sword formation was blasted into the ground. The ground collapsed, and dust rose into the sky. Seeing this scene, countless people were dumbfounded and inexplicably shocked. Whoever dares to offend the demons shall die. An angry roar came from the depths of the 100,000 Devil Mountains. Then, a terrifying demonic figure walked out of the depths of the mountains step by step. With every step the demonic figure took, the entire world would tremble with his footsteps. Is that the deathless demon lord? The demonic figure that walked out of the depths of the 100,000 Devil Mountains emitted a monstrous demonic aura. Even the old tortoise could not help but be shocked. It's not the deathless demon lord, the old tortoise said solemnly. Who is this guy? Xiaoqing, who was standing beside old tortoise, said in a deep voice. Sky-dominating demon lord. The old tortoise stared at the demonic figure. At this moment, the ground exploded, and countless figures rushed out from the ground. Each figure emitted a brilliant sword light, as if a heavenly sword had pierced through heaven and earth. That was the swordsman of the Clear Sky Sword School who was smashed into the ground by the sky-hegemonic demon lord. Come in. The sky-dominating demon lord held the demonic cauldron in his hand. His voice was like a bell, and the sound waves caused the void to tremble. He patted the demonic tripod in his hand, and a wave of demonic power surged out of it. The swords flew towards the demonic tripod. What? The swordsmen of the Haotian sword sect were scared out of their wits. They all flew toward the demonic tripod involuntarily. In an instant, more than a dozen swordsmen were sucked into the demonic tripod. Clear Sky Sword. The sect master of the Haotian faction roared and slashed with all his might. Whoosh! The immortal sword light surged for thousands of miles and turned into a peerless sword rainbow. It fell toward the demonic tripod. The sky-dominating demon lord raised the demonic tripod in his hand, and an even more powerful devouring power surged out of the demonic tripod. The next moment, the Haotian faction's peerless sword light was shattered, and the demonic tripod swallowed it. When he saw this scene, he was extremely shocked. You come over too. The sky-dominating demon lord stretched out his hand and grabbed at the Haotian faction. The Haotian faction felt his body tighten. In the next moment, he flew toward the sky-dominating demon lord's hand involuntarily. The sky-dominating demon lord was domineering. He destroyed the Haotian sword sect with one move and showed his strength to the demon-fighting army. Just as the Haotian faction was about to be grabbed by the sky-dominating demon lord, a sword light descended from the sky and cut off the sky-dominating demon lord's hand. Everyone was shocked. That was the sky-dominating demon lord, who had destroyed the Haotian sword sect all by himself. Such an existence was definitely not weaker than the primordial demon lord. However, the The sky-dominating demon lord had one of his arms cut off by a sword. Roar! The sky-hegemonic demon lord roared into the sky. In the next moment, his severed demon hand turned into a wave of demon chi that entered his body. In just an instant, the severed demon hand grew back on his body once again. The Haotian faction took the opportunity to turn into a sword light and escape. At this moment, a figure descended from the sky. The figure was graceful, and her purple robe fluttered in the wind. Her face was covered. It was a female quasi-supreme. It's her. Old Turtle's eyes lit up when he saw the woman in purple. The woman in purple was the princess of the Qin clan, Qin Yarrow. Qin Yarrow had made her move. This time, the Qin clan had also sent a few experts to participate in the demon-fighting army. Qin Yarrow didn't seem to have come, but she had appeared at this time. The princess, Qin Yarrow's cultivation seemed to have improved again. Back then, she had fought with the female quasi-supreme of the extreme mysterious realm, Zizun. That battle was earth-shattering, and Qin Yarrow seemed to have won by a narrow margin. Unexpectedly, her cultivation had improved again today. After experiencing a life-and-death battle, Qin Yarrow's potential seemed to have been stimulated. She wasn't an ordinary person. She was the princess of the Qin clan, and her cultivation was pitilessly powerful. The sovereign blood in her body wasn't just for show. Once the power of her bloodline was stimulated, it would be absolutely terrifying. However, the bloodline power that Qin Yarrow had inherited from the Qin clan's supreme sovereign lord would eventually become a hindrance to her. It would be far more difficult for her to become an extreme-grade sovereign than an ordinary person. Qin clan, I sense a familiar aura. The sky-dominating demon lord stared at Qin Yarrow, and his blood-red pupils suddenly contracted. The sky-dominating demon lord had actually just woken up from his slumber not long ago. As soon as he came out, he encountered the huge matter of the old turtle's crusade against the 100,000 demon mountains. Actually, he hadn't fully woken up yet. However, after seeing Qin Yarrow's attack, the sky-dominating demon lord finally woke up completely. The sky-dominating demon lord sensed the sovereign aura on Qin Yarrow's body. I say, the princess of the Qin clan, this fellow is mine. At this moment, a figure walked over. This person's body shone with a resplendent golden light, as though he was made of immortal divine gold. A powerful wave of metal elemental divine power erupted from this figure. Golden spiritual ape. When the old turtle saw this fellow, he couldn't help but feel shocked. Why were these fellows here to join in the fun? Whether it was the golden spiritual ape or the princess of the Qin clan, they were both top-notch existences in the heaven domain. This golden spiritual ape wasn't Yuan Hong, but a middle-aged expert. Raw. Chapter 43-29. The sky-dominating demon lord was definitely an ancient supreme demon lord. According to legend, this devil lord was gravely injured during the distant moon era, and then fell into a deep slumber in the depths of the 100,000 devil mountains. Countless years have passed, and many people have forgotten about this devil lord. However, just as Old Tortoise was about to lead the demon-slaying army to flatten the 100,000 demon mountains, the forgotten demon lord had awakened from his deep slumber. The sky-dominating demon lord was pitilessly tyrannical. He had just awakened from his slumber, and with one move, he crippled the Clear Sky Sword faction. Even the faction master of the Clear Sky Sword faction was almost swallowed by this demon lord. Just as Old Tortoise was about to make a move, someone beat him to it and went up against the sky-dominating demon lord. Boom! At this time, Qin Yarrow revolved her Xian art, and the yin and yang energy of the world was immediately stirred up by her, crazily gathering towards her. A giant yin and yang Dao diagram immediately appeared on her body, filled with vast yin and yang energy. Yin-yang Grand Dao? Who are you to the Yin-yang Emperor? The sky-hegemonic demon lord stared at Qin Yarrow, his blood-red eyes flashing with a terrifying ominous light. That's my father. Qin Yarrow said calmly. No wonder I sensed his aura on you. Yin-yang Emperor, HMPH. A heaven-shaking killing intent burst forth from the sky-hegemonic demon lord as boundless demonic chi surged forth from his body. A gigantic demonic figure appeared between the heavens and earth, overlooking all the tiny living beings. At this moment, another demonic figure appeared in the distance. Its blood-red eyes were faintly discernible in the demonic aura. A demonic aura that was not weaker than the Sky Hegemon Demon Lord surged out from the demonic figure. Immortal Demon Lord, outside the 100,000 Devil Mountains, countless experts shuddered when they saw the devil silhouette. This undying Devil Lord was known as the Undying Devil Lord. As long as he was in the 100,000 Devil Mountains, nobody would be able to kill him. Undead Demon Master was very careful, he almost never left 100,000 Demon Mountains. The Undying Demon Lord was also surprised by the sudden appearance of the Sky Hegemon Demon Lord. He had just chased away the Primordial Demon Lord and didn't expect another Sky Hegemon Demon Lord to appear. The appearance of the Sky-dominating Demon Lord directly challenged the Undead Demon Lord's position as the overlord of the 100,000 Demon Mountains. This made Undying Demon Master very unhappy. Behind the Undead Demon Master, there were countless demon dwellers, demon beasts, and other ferocious and terrifying demonic creatures. All the demons were standing quietly. Even the most terrifying demon beasts were very obedient at this moment. This was an army of demons. As long as the Undying Demon Lord gave the order, this army of demons would surge forward like a tide and destroy everything. What? You know my father? When Qin Yarrow saw the reaction of the Eight Heavens Demon Lord, she was a little surprised. If this fellow knew her father, he would have been killed by her. How could he still be alive? Humph. My slumber until now is all thanks to him. Do you think I know your father, the Yin-Yang Emperor? The Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord glared at Qin Yarrow and gritted his teeth. Ha ha, so it's my father's defeated opponent. Qin Yarrow laughed heartily. At this moment, the others were all very shocked. The Qin clan was an imperial clan and the primogenitor of the Qin clan was the legendary Yin-Yang Immortal Emperor. The era that the Yin-Yang Emperor lived in was far too long ago. No one would have thought that the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord was actually in existence from the same era as the Yin-Yang Emperor. Rumble. The Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord was enraged. Powerful demonic energy erupted from his body. The void around him was immediately shaken by the power that erupted from his body. A pitch-black spatial crack appeared around the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord. You should have done this long ago. Qin Yarrow said indifferently. The yin-yang Dao diagram that emerged from her body became more solid as if it was an entity. The yin-yang Dao force was vast and mighty. His mine. At this moment, a golden-haired middle-aged man carried a golden rod and strode over from afar. Yuan Gang, you're not dead yet. When Qin Yarrow saw the golden-haired middle-aged man, her eyes instantly lit up. The Golden Spirit Ape Clan was not unfamiliar to Qin Yarrow. You really hope that I die earlier. The golden-haired middle-aged man glanced at Qin Yarrow before his gaze fell on the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord. An extremely powerful battle intent erupted from his body. You bastards, do you think I don't exist? Old Tortoise scolded. Haha, who would dare to not think that you, the son of the Grand Emperor, don't exist? Qin Yarrow laughed. You tortoise egg, go play somewhere else. This has nothing to do with you. Yuan Gang said impatiently. What are you talking about, you monkey? Old Tortoise walked out. Tortoise egg, if you're not going to scram, I'll break your shell. Yuan Gang said rudely. Preposterous. Old Tortoise was enraged. This guy was too impudent. No matter what, I'm still a person with status, but I'm actually being looked down upon by this smelly monkey. Alright, what do you guys want? Could it be that you want to fight? Qin Yarrow shook her head. All of you, come at me together. Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord roared. The son of the Grand Emperor, the princess of the Qin clan, and the descendant of the Golden Spirit Ape clan. These were all races that had once produced extreme Dao Supremes. Their bloodlines were pitilessly powerful. It would be good if he could get rid of these three guys in one go. Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord was extremely domineering. He actually challenged three great experts at the same time. One must know that these three great experts were not ordinary people. They were all existences that were known to be invincible in the same realm. Demon brat, who do you think you are? Your daddy alone can beat you up till you're begging for mercy. Yuan Gang said as he waved the rod in his hand. A dazzling golden light burst forth from his body. In the next moment, he took a step forward and turned into a beam of golden light that shot towards the sky hegemonic demon lord. Have a taste of my staff. Yuan Gang swung the golden rod and smashed it down at the sky hegemonic demon lord. A violent metal element power burst forth and the sky was torn apart by a beam of golden light. Today, I'll let you little fellas witness the might of the sky hegemonic demon lord. The sky hegemonic demon lord said as he punched at the incoming rod. Clang. When the demon fist collided with the rod, a metallic sound rang out. In the next moment, the golden spirit ape clan Yuan Gang was forced back by this punch. His hands that were holding the golden rod were trembling. The golden rod was almost sent flying out of his hands by the sky hegemonic demon lord's punch. What a strong force! Yuan Gang couldn't help but be moved. Even though he was incomparably arrogant, he wasn't a fool. The sky hegemonic demon lord's combat strength had exceeded his expectations. Haha, I wonder who was the one bragging just now, wanting to beat this demon brat up till he's begging for mercy. That's a slap in the face. Old Tortoise was overjoyed. Yuan Gang was infuriated. If you're so good, go ahead. Yuan Gang said angrily. Hee hee. Old Tortoise smiled and didn't reply. Against an existence like the sky hegemonic demon lord, even Old Tortoise didn't dare to be arrogant lest he humiliate himself. I told you to come at me together. Since you're not coming at me together, then go to hell. The sky hegemonic demon lord's body shook. In the next moment, two demonic shadows rushed out from his body and pounced at Old Tortoise and Qin Yao. As for the real body of the sky hegemonic demon lord, it directly pounced at Yuan Gang. What? Seeing this scene, countless people were inexplicably shocked. Madman, he actually attacked those three guys at the same time? Everyone thought that the sky hegemonic demon lord had gone mad. Die! Yuan Gang roared angrily and directly smashed at the real body of the sky hegemonic demon lord. Violent metal elemental power erupted, directly shaking the heavens and earth. The sky hegemonic demon lord sneered. In the next moment, he punched out again, directly using his physical body to directly block Yuan Gang's Dao weapon. Boom! This time, a ball of demonic light erupted from the sky hegemonic demon lord's fist. Powerful demonic power erupted like a volcano, directly blasting Yuan Gang away. The rod in his hand flew out of his hand. Preposterous! Yuan Gang roared angrily. In the next moment, countless densely packed golden Dao patterns appeared on his body. The Dao patterns were densely packed, and each Dao pattern emitted a powerful wave of metal elemental power. There was a powerful force in his body that wanted to burst out, but the force was suppressed by the countless golden Dao patterns on his body. Self-sealing? Seeing this, the sky hegemonic demon lord was a little surprised. Demon brat, you actually want me to remove the seal? Very good. Very good. Yuan Gang stared at the sky hegemonic demon lord. In the next moment, he suddenly roared to the sky, and in the next moment, the golden Dao patterns on his body actually rushed out. After the Dao patterns rushed out of Yuan Gang's body, they actually turned into rays of golden light that rushed into his body, and a terrifying pressure immediately erupted from his body. The power that had been sealed in Yuan Gang's body burst out like 100,000 volcanoes erupting at the same time. The entire heaven and earth suddenly changed color, and the sun and moon lost their light. In the sky above Yuan Gang, a huge golden vortex appeared. So what? The sky hegemonic demon lord did not stop Yuan Gang from increasing his battle strength. This was his confidence. At this moment, the sky hegemonic demon lord's two doppelgangers began fighting with Qin Yao and the old tortoise. You dare to look down on Master Tortoise? Master Tortoise will play with you. The old tortoise really wanted to laugh. This sky hegemonic demon lord was really overconfident. In that case, let's fight this demon. The old tortoise did not display his true strength. He only pretended to be strenuous when fighting with the doppelgangers of the sky hegemonic demon lord. Qin Yao seemed to have the same thought as the old tortoise, and she also fought with the doppelgangers of the sky hegemonic demon lord intensely. Of course, it was all an act. TSK, what Emperor clan, what Tai Huang's descendant, what golden spiritual ape, they are all trash. The sky hegemonic demon lord swept a disdainful glance at the old tortoise and Qin Yao. This guy, even the undying demon lord couldn't help but shake his head when he heard the sky hegemonic demon lord's words. This guy really underestimated these guys. The Tai Huang's descendant, the Qin clan's princess, and the golden spiritual ape were not weaklings. Even the undying demon lord did not dare to challenge the old tortoise and the others at the same time. The undying demon lord had already noticed that the old tortoise and the others were just playing with the sky hegemonic demon lord. These guys were extremely cunning. Chapter 43:30. The sky-dominating demon lord used his demon path divine ability and created 2 clones to attack old tortoise, Qin Yao, and Yuan Gang at the same time. Seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but admire the sky hegemonic demon lord. This guy was really gutsy. These 3 experts were all descendants of extreme Dao sovereigns. Old Tortoise was the son of the Tai Huang Emperor, Qin Yao was the daughter of the Yin Yang Emperor, and Yuan Gang, the golden spiritual ape, was also a famous expert of the golden spiritual ape lineage. Yuan Gang was not the biological son of the extreme Dao divine ape, but he was the grandson of the extreme Dao divine ape. Although there was a generation gap, the bloodline inherited from his grandfather did not weaken. Rumble, the entire firmament seemed like it was about to be torn apart. The power that erupted from Yuan Gang's body became stronger and stronger, and it continued to soar. Endless worldly essence frantically gathered towards him, forming a huge vortex in the sky above his head. Haha, even though you've improved your cultivation, it still benefits me in the end. The sky-dominating demon lord laughed out loud. The stronger Yuan Gang was, the faster his cultivation would recover after he devoured him. If he devoured all of these guys, his cultivation might be completely restored. The sky-dominating demon lord chose to sleep because he was seriously injured to slowly recover his vitality. He slept for countless years, but even in the present, he still had not fully recovered his peak cultivation. When he woke up from his slumber this time, he found that the world had changed, and there seemed to be a power that could threaten him in the depths of the firmament. Yuan Gang's power was simply incomparable to the power in the depths of the firmament, which seemed to be extremely powerful. Boom! At this moment, Yuan Gang's aura finally reached its peak. In the next moment, an unimaginably powerful wave of metal elemental power erupted from Yuan Gang's body, and golden divine runes appeared on his body. The void around him was constantly collapsing and reforming. It was as if the heavens and the void could no longer accommodate his extremely powerful metal element battle physique. Is this the metal battle physique of the golden spiritual ape clan? Old Tortoise could not help but be moved by this scene. The metal battle physique was the strongest combat physique of the golden spiritual ape clan. You shouldn't have let me break the seal. Yuan Gang stared at the true body of the sky hegemonic devil lord as he coldly spoke. At this moment, his battle intent was like a rainbow. Every single move he made could shatter the heavens and earth. Really? So what? Hegemonic sky demon lord said in disdain. Nothing much, I just want to beat you to death. Yuan Gang suddenly grinned. In the next moment, he stretched out his right hand, and a golden light flew over from afar. He directly grabbed it in his hand. Buzz! The golden staff vibrated in his hand, and countless golden Dao patterns appeared and intertwined on the golden staff. A powerful wave of power exploded from the golden staff. Haha! Come and try. Let's see if you can beat me to death. If you can't, I'll beat you to death. Demon Master Hegemonic Sky laughed out. You're too arrogant. Die. Yuan Gang took a step forward and smashed the golden rod in his hand towards the sky hegemonic demon lord's head. The staff shook heaven and earth. The power of Yuan Gang's staff was not to be underestimated. Such power was already close to the extreme grade realm. However, regardless of whether it was the heaven realm or the human realm, the power of the extreme grade realm could not appear. Yuan Gang controlled his power very well and would definitely not step over the line. However, the sky hegemonic demon lord just stretched out his right hand and directly grabbed Yuan Gang's extremely ferocious staff. What? Yuan Gang was shocked. Countless Heaven Realm experts who were watching the battle from afar were also shocked. This guy was actually strong enough to catch a extreme-grade Dao tool with his bare hands. The golden rod in Yuan Gang's hand had an extraordinary origin. It was a extreme-grade Dao tool. Boom. At this moment, the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord's right hand that was grabbing the golden rod shook, and a monstrous demonic power immediately erupted from his hand. In the next moment, Yuan Gang was actually sent flying with the rod. You're just a descendant of old Yuan. Even if old Yuan came personally, I would not be afraid, let alone a junior like you. Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord sneered. His right hand actually turned crimson. Crimson demonic light circled around his right hand, and a terrifying aura seeped out from the crimson blood demonic hand. At this moment, Old Tortoise and Qin Yarrow were fighting with the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord's clone. Crimson blood demonic hand? Old Tortoise and Qin Yarrow were both shocked. This move of the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord was an extreme-grade divine ability. No wonder it could block a blow from the golden rod. Again, Yuan Gang was shocked and furious. He once again charged at the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord. The golden light that erupted from his body illuminated the entire world. You overestimate yourself. The Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord sneered. His right hand directly struck at Yuan Gang, who was attacking him. A huge crimson demon hand immediately appeared in the void. In the next moment, the crimson demon hand instantly collided with Yuan Gang. Then, without any suspense, Yuan Gang was once again sent flying. Damn it! Yuan Gang was enraged. He once again charged at the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord in a frenzy. Yuan Gang can't do it. Old Tortoise and Qin Yarrow shook their heads. Although Yuan Gang's cultivation was strong, he was still a little weak. He was no match for the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord. Of course, it would not be easy for the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord to kill Yuan Gang. At this time, another figure walked over from afar. It was a masked woman in white. Old Tortoise's eyes lit up as soon as she arrived. Why is she here? Old Tortoise was distracted and was almost hit by the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord's clone. Sister-in-law? Xiaoqing, who was at the front of the demon-slaying army, was also shocked to see the woman in white. Yang Er had arrived. Yang Er had originally gone to roam the world and gain experience. However, she heard the news and came to join in the fun. With Yang Er's arrival, Old Tortoise felt that his chances of winning were more than 60%. This time, he was confident that he could trample the 100,000 demon mountains and kill all the demons in the heavenly realm. Who is that? Many people did not recognize Yang Er. They did not know that she was Jiyu Fei's wife and Jiyu Ling's mother. Even the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord felt a dangerous aura from Yang Er. He immediately listed Yang Er as one of his strongest opponents. At this time, Yuan Gang was continuously sent flying by the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord. Golden blood dripped from the sky. Seeing that the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord was about to defeat Yuan Gang, Old Tortoise and Qin Yarrow stopped playing. Boom! With just one strike, Old Tortoise directly destroyed the demonic figure that he was fighting with, displaying his extremely tyrannical battle strength. Seeing this, the Sky Hegemonic Demon Lord's real body was shocked. Whoosh! At this time, Qin Yarrow wielded the yin-yang battle sword and slashed another demonic figure into two. You guys.